So, seen any good moves lately? Welcome back to Seen any Good Moves Lately. We are here to talk about Big Brother Week 2. We're recapping Week 2 of Big Brother and everything that's been going on all around the Big Brother house. And here to join me is a very special guest. Some may say that he is the mastermind of Blood on the Clocktower in many ways. We have here Noah.
No.
How are you doing, Noah?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, Joey. Happy to talk Big Brother. I would say this is I know it, but at the same time I don't. So I'm ready to give out some hot takes, if you will, talk about my favorites. Happy to discuss week 2.
Yeah, no, that's great because that's pretty much how I feel about Big Brother. It's like I've been very open in the fact that like I'm pretty new to Big Brother myself. First season I watched was 25, and now here I am. So like I really am not in the weeds of the show, so to speak. But I do have to ask you, Noah, what's your
Yes.
familiarity level with Big Brother?
Yeah, my first Big Brother season was season 17. Was my first one. So kind of like freshly after the rebrand of the disaster of 15. So
Yeah.
I saw like a little bit of 16, but like I didn't watch the season. So the first full season I watched was 17. Saw Steve and kind of saw that fun cast. And then I watched it for multiple years after that. It was always like a thing where it's like it's in the off season of Survivor. Let's just kind of watch Big Brother and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't watch live feeds back then. This was kind of just, your casual. I'm going to tune in on the Monday, Wednesday, Thursday episodes.
Sure.
I did that for quite a few years, from probably 17 to 21-ish, about, as I watched them like that. But 22, I just couldn't get into that season, so I stopped early.
Mm-hmm.
And then from basically 23 to 26, every other season roughly I ought to get into. Watch feeds for the first couple of weeks. And then at that point I was like, it's too much. Like I'm putting so much into it. Let me just kind of get the highlights every week or so just to figure out what's going on. Didn't keep up with it last year. I strictly got my info from Twitter last year, like from like the Big Brother update accounts, which was kind of fun. Like I was following without watching.
It's almost like a live blog. Yeah.
It was basically just a live blog. So that was fun to watch. And then this year I decided, you know what? I'm not like the biggest. I don't necessarily even watch the feeds often, but I keep up with the updates when I can, just to kind of so I'm at least somewhat in the loop, so I don't sound like a complete idiot when I have to talk it. But that's my Big Brother experience. I have a love and hate with the format. We don't need to get into it, but I like it when it's good, but when it's bad, it's really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I basically feel the same way in a lot of ways because it's like I come from a place of Survivor. I'm very Survivor minded most of the time, all the time, and Big Brother is just it's the same game in some aspects. You got a jury, you win based on that, et cetera, et cetera. And in other ways, it's like it is so completely different, at least in terms of the nomination process and the vetoes, and it's like comparatively, Survivor is so much more simple. It's just two teams, one person goes home, maybe one person's immune, and it's like, all right, I got it. You can throw in your idols, you can throw in your advantages, but at the end of the day, the core concept of the game is very simple. On the other hand, you have Big Brother, which sounds like it's more simple in a sense, because it's like, okay, you have like 16 people in the house, one of them goes home a week, and one person puts two people on the block. It's like, okay, that's kind of simple. But then you throw in the vetoes, and now you throw in the BB blockbuster and stuff like that, and it's like, all right, there's a lot going on. But then there's also all the silly things, like, oh yeah, the slop and the whatever else, and it's like we'll throw a bunch of silly stuff at the wall. You got to hit the button to start the countdown to begin the season. Whatever else.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I appreciate it. Like at its true simplest form, I really appreciate it for how like it's a game where you have to be on all the time, and I appreciate that for what it is. And just like it's like just the fact that they have to basically play for as long as they do, and like if you basically mess up, you can make minor mistakes all the time, but basically any decent slip up, you're basically gone.
Yeah.
So I find it impressive for that. My big issues is the blockbuster helps, but at the same time it creates other issues where like it's Big Brother, unlike Survivor, feels more metaable.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
like just how you're able to like maneuver in the house, or what you can kind of expect. Like I still feel like Survivor has enough stuff they've done that like you're
Mhm.
kind of at least always on your toes a little bit, because they always want to try to do something new.
Yeah.
Whereas Big Brother for a long time was like, all right, here's our format. We'll maybe throw in like, oh, we'll do Battle of the Block. Like we'll do some of these smaller twists, but
Mhm.
like they only last for a couple weeks, can't come back. But then like after that, it's like, this is what you're getting. And like oftentimes it's kind of just a given who's going to go home in any given week, which makes it not fun for the viewer. Whereas on
Yeah.
Survivor, it's like just 1 hour episode where you're like, all right, like if I didn't like this boot, it's fine. It was just an hour of my time. Whereas like for people who are into it, that's a full week of tracking.
Yeah, I think one of the big problems about it is just the fact that it is live, unlike Survivor. Like, there are problems with Survivor being, a script or not scripted, sorry, but an edited show that
Yeah.
shows a storyline that they basically get to make up to some extent. Like, they get to craft their own narrative for the season, and we can't craft our own for it because we don't have all the live footage and all the raw footage and whatever else. But that's also a curse for Big Brother because it's like, all right, well, if this season's just not interesting, it not only is not interesting for a longer period of time, 100 days versus 26, but it's also like, it's, I don't I don't really know how to explain it in the best way, but it's
I know
just
what you mean.
the peaks are higher, the valleys are lower, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a show where like the Survivor is, for love it or hate it, it is very consistent.
Yeah, for sure.
Bad seasons of
Absolutely.
Survivor are still good seasons of reality TV overall.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Whereas Big Brother, it's like I'm trying to think. Big Brother 21, I loved as a
Yeah.
season. Or maybe it was 20, but like I adored some of those seasons. Like I was tuning in, I was like excited to watch. I was like really wanting to know what's going on.
Hmm.
And then there are
Yeah.
some seasons that were so like bad to me that I just stopped watching. And I'm not like that for other shows. Like Survivor, I watch all the way through. Love Island, I watch all the way through. Like I watch these shows because I think the formats are fun, and in any given season, it's gonna be better than average for most shows. But Big Brother does not have that problem. For me, like if I think a season's bad, I have no issues tuning out.
Well, the thing about Big Brother is like so much of it, at least even compared to the strategy of Survivor, like so much of it is dependent on being able to stand the people who are in the house for 100 days and being able
Yeah.
to enjoy watching them. Like one of the problems I have with Big Brother 25 is, for a long time it was, personalities that I liked seeing. I like seeing Felicia, I like seeing Sari, I like seeing America, blah, 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 blah. But once all those people are out the house and you're left with Matt and Jag and Bowie Jane,
Yeah.
it's like, all
Yes.
right, well, why would I want to keep tuning in?
And that's what happened to me on that season once. And it's like, of course, like it was one where like I didn't watch the season before. I tuned out early this season before, and I was like, you know what, like Suri, like of course it's a feel good story as a Survivor fan. Let me just see what goes on. But then of
Yeah,
course you develop like favorites and other characters.
sure.
And then once, I know for me it was kind of once you had that America, Corey, Suri kind of pairing go out, it kind of just like I've Jag did not interest me. Matt did not, like Boydin did not interest, like none of them were like, maybe it's just opinion, but I didn't think they really popped
No,
on
no.
screen for better or for worse, where it's like other characters clearly did and they went home early. So it's like, why am I going to watch people that I just don't like?
It,
I have
it
no
would
rooting
kind of
interest.
it would kind of be like on this season if the final three was like Riley, Kelly, and I don't know, like Adrian. It's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't lump Adrian in with this.
Yeah, I like Adrian more, but I know your point.
Yeah,
Like if it's, yeah, Riley, those people, it's like, I don't, and it's like, it's fine. Like if I don't like you, that's fine too.
yeah.
Like we'll get into it. I'm not the biggest Jimmy guy, but like he's good quality TV.
I
And it's
agree with
like,
that.
and it's like, so if he goes far, it's people are like hate. Oh, it goes into the thing for Survivor. People want villains, but they don't like villains when they come on.
Hmm.
Whereas it's like, I'm the same way, right? Like there's somebody I'm like, I really don't like them, but like
Well,
I'm never gonna say anything bad about them because I'm like, that's what makes it good. I want to hate them, but some people can't conceptualize you're supposed to hate them, but just let them do their thing.
Something interesting to me about the difference between Big Brother and Survivor is, you'll have villains on both shows, but like on Survivor, if you have a villain, like they are probably not playing it up to the camera. All the villainness, unless it's like Rome or Ed or somebody like that, it's like all their villainy is in their actions and maybe in the words that they say, but like whether or not they are, they're not saying to the camera like, I'm gonna be so devious today. And there are a few examples, but not that many. And in Big Brother, it's the exact opposite. It's like if you're a villain, you are getting into fights all the time just because there's nothing else to do. And you're saying to the camera like, and if they come after me, I'm putting them on the block because I don't care, or something like that. Like that's sort of the Big Brother formula of villainy almost. But it's in general, I feel like Big Brother is a way more theatrical show, and Survivor, whether it's just based on the editing or just the format or the people who apply or blah 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 whatever else, is like way more serious. Like it's silly sometimes, but it is like it's like combat. It's like intense. So
I'll kind of kick this in and start talking about some of the characters from this season, just to slowly lump some of them in. And I think like speaking on villains, like Jimmy is the villain that I don't like on reality television because it feels like he's playing into the pomp and circumstance of like, oh, I know the cameras are on me. I got to turn it up a notch now.
Yeah.
Whereas like I would label Keanu a villain in the same way on this season, but it's in a very different where it's like, you just feel like that's who they are with like the, I don't give an F attitude. And it's like, I like that because that's like who they are. That's like authentic to me. Whereas like for me, sometimes Jimmy feels over the top and it's like you rehearse these lines, like this is not really truly you. And I think also like, just to kind of go to some Big Brother villains, like I have to say this, I do not like him as a person, but Cody fascinated me as a villain on like 19.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he, like, you could just tell that the type of guy he is and he rubbed people the wrong way. But like, there's something kind of fun in that.
Yeah.
And like that he kind of just ticks some people off. And like, as a person, I think he's deplorable. I hate him for any of that stuff. But like, as a pure entertainment on my show, he was a great foil to Paul. Like, I like foils. Like, if you're going to be like Jimmy and Keanu are foils to each other, which is why they're both fine now.
Yeah.
Like, but because they need each other.
It's interesting. I like the point that you made about authenticity because you look at, say, Rachel Riley, and it's like, she at her time is probably one of the most hated people in the show's history. Like nobody, even people on this season, like don't like her enough to not want to get rid of her number one ally or whatever else. But the thing about her is like in BB12 or BB13, I truly believe that is just Rachel's authentic self, and she just so happened to be very annoying to some people. On this season, however, I feel like she's matured a lot. She's a different person in many ways, and she's still Rachel, but she's different. But once in a while, I just feel like she's like, all right, I got to give the people some BB12 or BB13 Rachel, and that's where I'm like, all right, you lost me.
Yeah, like some of that stuff I'm not a fan of, but I at least give returning people a little bit of leeway usually for stuff like that. Because it's like they've matured since that time, right? Like they're not gonna be the same person, but they at least want to give a little bit of that fun.
Yeah.
And like, for example, like with Survivor 50, right? Like Coach is not who he was back in Token Change, right? Like,
well, yeah,
he's not that
I get
guy.
What you're saying. Yeah.
But it's like, they're gonna like, it's been so long where it's like, I had to give people who like me a little bit of that. And I feel like that in Rachel, where it's like, like I'm in a different spot, but like people love that old Rachel Riley. Let me just give it a little bit. And it's also like similarly, like I kind of felt like that when I saw her in Traitors a little bit. You could tell she was matured and different, but at the same time, she's like, let me just give a little bit. Like, let me go to 50%.
Yeah.
Because then people could be like, oh, that's who I remember. That's who I love.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's fair to compare anybody to Coach in terms of pure playing it up to the camera. I mean, Coach is like, he was born to be just he's an enigma. I mean,
he's my all-time favorite castaway. Like
same here. And I can't imagine a world where he doesn't play up to the camera because he's always doing it. It's not like when the cameras are off, I think that coach is like a significantly different person.
No.
You know, he played the trumpet to open a Bills game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's always up to ridiculous stuff. While Rachel, I believe when the camera's not on her and she's not on Big Brother, she's a perfectly, wonderful
Yeah.
person. Like, I think she's probably quite different on
Mhm.
Big Brother versus in reality, though obviously that's me just kind of guessing. I don't really
No,
know.
I'm the same way. I love character stuff. I find it's funny, like the all-time top people, my favorites are characters
Yeah, same here.
usually.
Yeah.
But on average, I prefer like the strategist to any given character on a season.
Interesting.
Because I relate to the strategist, I think, more in the sense of like I respect pure gameplay.
Sure.
And I respect that. Whereas the character, they're two different things. Like the character is like basically like the junk food that I'm eating. Like I love to see it, but if I want the full meal, I want the strategist. Like I think that's part of, and I don't want to get too survivor focused here, but I think that's one of my reasons why it's like Island of the Idols is horrible, but I really appreciate Tommy's game.
Same here. Yep.
And it's like I really like he's honestly one of my favorite winners.
He's a great
because winner. You just like he has it and you can tell he has it, and it sucks that he's got on a bad season. It's like he's considered boring.
Mm-hmm.
But I find people who make things look so easy boring to be a strong selling point. When it gets too much into like Boss and Rob winning, like then it reaches a point.
Yeah.
But same thing on Big Brother, right? When you have some of these people like Xavier, where it's like you just like on any given season, like on Big Brother, like half the cast can win. Like half of them, they have no shot.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see Xavier, like he has it. And he's entertaining enough where it's like he's very rootable for because they give off those little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for, right? Like Casey, right? Like I think Casey's more character than strategist. But there is the strategy in there. Yes, you can tell they have both.
Yeah.
And it's like if it's one's more than the other, that's fine. But you have to have like the ratio to make it fun.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, I think about like the character versus strategist thing. It's like if I put myself in a season of Big Brother like I am right now, I'm not thinking from the perspective of I'm Kelly. I'm thinking from the perspective that I'm Morgan or I'm, Ava or Nikki or somebody who's like reasonably strategic. They're more relatable in a sense because they're trying to use their brains to win the game instead of, someone like Kelly who it's like, I really don't know why you're here necessarily.
And it's one of those like and I'm sure you've done the same thing. You've always been like, if I put myself on the show, how would I fit in? Right.
Yeah.
And like it's different. Like I think the best chance I have to win a show would be Survivor. Like I think that.
I agree with that.
Because the thing with Big Brother is, and it's like knowing myself, I think it's just knowing yourself. I would not be able to help myself from not getting in a showmance.
Okay.
And I know that about myself.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's such a long season that at a certain point, you're going to, as a person, I'm going to be like, let's, like, is this the best for me? No.
Yeah.
But let's live a little. Let's have fun.
Sure,
and I know that's something that would like get me in trouble. Whereas on Survivor, it's just a different type of thing. It's shorter. It's much more faster paced. And I'm more of a quick thinking person in general. So it suits better for me.
See, I agree with you that I think Survivor would be the best show for me, but for different reasons. Like from my perspective, it's like I know Survivor the best. I know the ins and outs of the strategy. I know the best thing to do with this or whatever else. Like I consider myself somebody who like has a lot of information about the game, but also compared to something like Big Brother or some of these other shows, like a lot of those shows are very, very, very much about social strategy, very much about integrating yourself in a group and not sticking out too much and being like that. And it's like knowing myself as a person, I feel like I maybe could go under the radar, but I don't think I could ride that fine line. Well, for something like Survivor, it's like a lot of awkward people like myself have done well socially, and it's not as much about doing great socially because it's only 6 people, and it's more about like, okay, well, who's going to hurt us down the road versus Big
Yeah.
Brother, where it's all individual from the jump, and it's like, I don't think I'm going to be as great socially as somebody like Zach would be here, or even somebody like Vince. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know how I could compensate for that when I'm not good in challenges either, theoretically. So,
Yeah. Like I socially, right? Like I for my job, I have to be social and like I can do it. But at a
yeah.
certain point, everybody has their social battery.
Oh yeah,
And it's
mine
like,
depletes fast.
and
So
mine, and like I can extend it if I'm in that, like, that mindset, like, oh, I'm working, I'm doing this. But at a certain point, you're like, okay, I'm there. And I think knowing my kind of work style, my thinking style, like it just translates better to Survivor. Cause like all it takes on like Big Brother is like when your social battery is depleted and something does something just to piss you off.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas like it doesn't happen necessarily on some of these other shows nearly as often because you can like run away. Like even if you're giving like confessionals, like that helps. Like you can be like, oh, I'm gonna go to the water well. I can just take a few minutes.
yeah.
Whereas like there's nowhere really to hide in Big Brother, which is
No,
why it's so impressive to win.
yeah. You have to be on all the time to some extent.
Yes.
Like, that's why I think a lot of the times the season can go down over time, and like, it's easy to lose interest. It's like, it's not just the audience losing steam; it's the people too. Like,
Yes.
I remember at the end of BB25, it just felt like everybody was sleeping all the time, and they were laying in the hammock all the time, just waiting for it to be over, waiting 5 days for the next thing to happen. So yeah, I
I
think it's interesting.
the touch on your point. This is one of my kind of hot takes to Big Brother before we dive into stuff.
Yeah.
Is that every people are like, I hate floaters.
Mm-hmm.
I think floating is the best strategy to Big Brother.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, for example, like fans were, and I don't speak for all the fans, I just see bits and pieces from people. People love to complain like before this week. Are we able to say stuff that's happening
Oh,
right now after?
yes,
Okay.
yes, too.
Okay. So like with Lauren winning, right? Like that is objectively very bad for her game.
Mm-hmm.
But people before that were like, oh, she's a floater. It's 2 weeks. Nobody respects moves in the first like 8 weeks of Big Brother anyways.
Yeah.
Like I hate the fact that and it's mostly the fans. The players do what they do because they don't know what's going on. Fans, like if you're not playing at 100% all the time, they see this as like you don't respect the game. Like, oh, you're not taking this seriously. When it's like, no, like I think the best strategy to winning Big Brother is to float the first like 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Be really good socially. Don't even worry about the strategic. Just be really good socially, put yourself in good spots. And then at that point, if you're floating, you usually find yourself in the middle anyways. Then just play the middle with some authority. Like that's what I think is the best strategy. And like I think I didn't see a ton from last year, but from what I remember, Chelsea kind of did that pretty well, of playing the middle a bit. When she had to pick a side, she picked a side, but always kind of hovered towards the middle. And it just works.
I think a good demonstration of your point is kind of thinking about this cast in a sense and asking like, who's more likely to win? Is it somebody who's kind of playing the middle like Ava, who's kind of floating and not really choosing a side, or somebody like Jimmy who's really dictating everything and saying to people what to do? And I think most people would agree that yeah, Ava has a better chance of winning. Or like, maybe somebody like, say, Lauren, who, even though she's not in the middle anymore because she has to pick a side, is trying to still be in as much middle as possible. Does she still have a better shot of winning than someone like Morgan, who a lot of people are targeting right now? I would say that's more like even, and we can talk about that when we get into it. But like, I think it goes to show that like the people who are out there right now, who are, big targets or big personalities, like it's really hard once you're out there, once you stick your head up like whack-a-mole, it's really hard not to get hit eventually. Like you have to really force yourself to go back down. And for somebody like Jimmy, I don't know how necessarily possible that is. So
I think part of this thing with Big Brother as well is that once you stick up, like you said, you can't go back down in Big Brother.
Yeah.
Survivor, you can go back down to lower your threat level. You can't do it on Big Brother. So the people, so we'll get into it. Like some of the people that I think are the best spot right now are like Catherine. I think's in a really good
Really?
spot
Okay.
because Catherine's not leading anything socially.
Yeah.
Catherine's sticking to her lane. She'll, teach me chess, teach me building these bonding things
Mhm.
that just go into it where it's like you're voting with the house, you're still, what's going on, you're in the loop, but you're not leading anything right now because it doesn't matter what's going on right now. There are so many people and you've known them for, what are they on, like day 17, 20? Like it's been less than a
Yeah.
month. Like these people at this point are expendable.
Yeah.
Like don't fight for these people. It's fine.
Well, that was the interesting thing about Zay, Z-A-E, Zay, going
Yeah.
home is like some of the people were like sticking their neck out and being like, yeah, I don't care if I vote incorrectly. I need you, Zay, to stay. And it's like, all right. I mean,
I
whatever you
think,
say.
yeah, like if the keeping Zay is such a stupid, like for me, it feels like an objectively bad decision because, and I know Big Brother's gotten a bit better with comp equity,
Yeah.
but there still is something too that you can like run challenges in Big Brother to a way lesser extent than other shows.
Yeah.
And it's like, who's going to pose you more of a challenge in that for like, if it gets down like 7 weeks from now, Amy or Zay, when it comes to the wall comp, who are you worried about?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
for like OTEV, who are you worried about there? Like it's not Amy. Like
it's also interesting to me because that vote was some people like knew that they were going to make enemies by voting to keep Zay. And it's like best case scenario, they still make those enemies if they vote to keep Zay and he somehow ends up staying. Like I think about Adrian doing that or Keanu. God knows Keanu's gotten into so much trouble because he voted tried to vote out Amy at the time. And it will as well to some extent. So it's weird. It's weird. It's weird, but I also get it because you want to set a precedent for the rest of the season. But choosing to die on the Zay Hill is something I won't really ever understand, especially when he wasn't exactly like a great game player or anything. Like he wasn't the worst first boot ever, but
I've always like been of the opinion like voting against the house like is not the worst thing ever. Like people love to make up, oh, I can't vote against the house. I really don't think it's that big of a deal because a lot of the time it's as easy as saying they were my friend. I knew what was going on. I wanted to at least give them a pity vote so it wasn't unanimous. Right?
yeah.
Like it could even be that simple. And people might be like, that's dumb. But at the end of the day, like they're not going to lose sweat over it because what they wanted to happen happened.
Yeah.
So if you can do things like that where it's like, look, if you want to throw Zay a pity vote, sure. Don't be the one going around trying to campaign for him to stay. Like that's where people get themselves in trouble. People try to lead conversations too much, which is why we'll get into like Rachel, where it's like Rachel's fun, but you can see it slow. You can easily see where this unravels on Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Let's get into some of these people because I have a very exciting graphic that I've been using.
Beautiful! I was worried about this.
I love because it is completely arbitrary and just has them in random order. So here we are.
Oh yeah, there is no order here.
This is what we're working with. So let's start by talking about Vince. Let me ask you, Noah, what do you think about Vince so far?
Vince has grown on me a bit at the right when the first show's first coming on. Vince, I was like, I don't really like him. Like, of course, you're going off of the archetypes. You're going off of like, oh, the mustache guy. Like, it's like, like I don't like him socially. I don't think he plays the best socially because he agrees on everything too much.
Yeah,
he's a yes man, and I think it's going to be to a fault at some point. But for the first couple of weeks, he's doing exactly what you have to do. He stayed relevant enough where he's put himself in, with some decent numbers. He's trying to take a back burner now, which I appreciate. So I like Vince. I think he's definitely not in a horrible spot by any means. Yeah. It doesn't seem like he's going to be anybody's like first target by any means. Like come next week, right? Like an arbitrary winner wins. Are they really going to go for Vince? I don't think so. Vince is somebody that I see on like Vince has material to do well, but I see unraveling, in the post jury phase. So I give him some win equity. I think he's good enough socially to overcome his ineptness to strategy.
Yeah,
is the way I would say it.
I tentatively like Vince, and I'll tell you why. Because after the first week, after his first HOH, me and I'm sure everybody else in America was like, "What the heck is this guy doing? Like, he seems a little like he's not very strategic," and he's still not very strategic. But I think he's done something to keep him under the radar for a while, which is what I assume his quote unquote strategy will be, whether or not it's even intentional or not, which is agree with everybody, be everybody's best friend. Yeah, no, I really get that vibe from you. Yeah, yeah, we should really be working together. And then have one person who you are just throwing under the bus at every opportunity. Like somebody asks you who you want, throw that person under the bus over and over. And for Vince right now, that's Kelly. And it continues to be Kelly because, Lauren's HOH. Lauren went to him immediately, which is a good sign to be like, hey, what do you want? And he was like, well, Kelly volunteered for the block for me, so I'm sure she'd be fine if you threw her up there too. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And then basically say nothing else of value and just agree with everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's valid. Like, I can't be mad at it.
It's very valid. I think people love to hear like they love to be agreed with. If you go with an idea and you go, I really like that idea. I think that's really smart. And then you want to give them just a little bit. Like you don't want people to think that you're always going to say yes. So it's like when they ask them a question, give an answer. You don't need to dive into it deeply. At least show that you're willing to kind of work it out.
Yeah.
And I think Vince has done a good job of that. Of basically every time somebody goes to him, wow, that's really interesting. I agree with that actually. And right, like it's very powerful to just say yes. And some of these people we're going to get to, they don't say yes, which is why they're in trouble early.
Crazy. Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, sure, there are situations where it's better to just be outright honest and say, yeah, I'm not wanting to do this. But like those situations are few and far between. And I don't think I've seen Vince say no to like anything so far, basically. He's just been a yes man and it's gotten him to arguably like top 3 to 5 positions in the house right now.
Yes. I think he's in a very good spot because he's in the conversations for power dynamics, but nobody is saying this is Vince's idea.
Yeah, exactly. Like the only person who I think is really actively against Vince right now is still Ashley. And they've sort of had that beef since week 1 pretty much. But one thing I can appreciate about Vince is like he is not elevating it at all.
No.
And in a house that's been really chaotic and really all over the place in general, no real power structures yet. If people are starting to be like, all right, we need to do something about this Vince Ashley like beef, it's distracting us. They're not going to put up Vince. They're going to put up Ashley, who nobody really seems to want to work with anyway. I also think Rachel is kind of against Vince, if I recall correctly, but
a little bit, yeah.
Rachel herself is in a very weird position in the house, where nobody really wants to work with her that closely, but also everybody kind of wants to work with her. So,
can we talk about Rachel for a second? Can we go to her next?
Please. We can just go right to Rachel. If you'd like.
I just want to go to Rachel because Rachel's in such a strange position because like not enough people have seen her play Big Brother.
Yeah.
So since she's more mature, they like picture her as like a strategist, which like that is not what Rachel Riley is. She has never been a strategist on like any of her shows. So it's like they fear her, but for the wrong reasons. Like I think voting Rachel out makes sense for a lot of them, but not for the reasons that I've heard them giving of why they want Rachel out. Like everybody's worried about the double winner. Like they don't want a double winner. I get that. But like if Joey, like if you just took any random winner on any given season and you said who's going to win, Rachel is not one of the people you're expecting to be the double winner, right? Like
no. It's really funny because I was talking
Like,
about this last week, but
yeah,
like people were equivalating Rachel to being on like the Mount Rushmore of Big Brother winners, and I'm
no,
like,
yeah,
I'm sure to some extent you could make that argument, like if you really wanted to, but it's like
hmm
it's not an easy one. It's not an easy
not my
argument to make.
argument. I'm not taking
Not
that
my
side.
argument.
No.
Um, but it's almost like her reputation or quote unquote reputation
hmm
that doesn't really exist of being a strategist and a great Big Brother winner is both helping and hurting her because
Yeah.
everybody's sort of rallying around her as being like, all right, well, she's this big threat. We can't let her number one, Amy, stay in the game. You know, like we need to keep her
hmm
at check. But on the other hand, everyone's like, well, she really knows what she's doing. I mean, she won. So I would rather have that person be on my side than
Yeah.
against me. Um, which is interesting. It's kind of both camps of the Survivor
Yep.
Redemption Island thing, where it's like she has the boss and Rob thing of everybody wants to work with her to learn something and to get better at the game.
Yeah.
But also it's the Russell thing of like, oh man, this person is a chaotic force who is a threat,
hmm
and we need to cut them off as soon as we can. It's
Yeah.
a really weird spot for Rachel.
It's
Just in
a
general.
weird spot, but at the same time, I think she's in like a good enough position right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's she doesn't really like with Amy going home, she doesn't have a number one, but since she's played, she knows how it works, and she's good enough with a good amount of the players that like they're like, Rachel, she's fine. Like we need to get rid of her at some point, but like it's a little early. I kind of like her. Let's work with her a little bit. Let's learn a little bit,
It's
which it quickly can snowball into being like, oh, it's too late now. But as of right now, she's in that good spot where I think that like she's not somebody like she definitely could be somebody that I could see going on the block for sure in the next couple of weeks. It's just I don't know who's going to want to be the person to try to be the one to push Rachel going home because that's going to be a lot of opposition for the future weeks.
it's funny because the fake perception of Rachel being, this master strategist is almost like accidentally an accurate read of where she is compared to everybody else on the
Yes.
cast because everybody else is either bad strategically in trying or bad strategically in not trying. And like there's like one or two exceptions. Like
Yeah.
Mickey is an exception,
Yes.
maybe Ava is an exception, and everybody else is somewhere in between. Totally fine and actively just like a train wreck. And
Yes.
Rachel is in the pretty good side of things, where it's like, yeah, she didn't want Amy to go home and wasn't able to keep her from going home, but she also knew, like, okay, well, I'm not going to die on this hill and
No.
I'm going to let her go home and I'm going to just try to rebound from that going forward. So, this read of Rachel being like such a great game player and so smart
Mhm.
is like accidentally a correct read
Yes.
compared to everybody else.
Yes. I
So,
think the genius in what Rachel did last week
mhm.
is that she pushes a little bit because that's what you would expect from her. Like everybody doesn't expect Rachel to push a little bit, like I want my way.
Yeah.
But then eventually Rachel realizes that losing this piece is good for me because the other players see this as Rachel can't do everything. She can't
Yeah.
save her number one. She's not the end of the world. We can beat her. This is fine. And I think it's good for her because it puts her down on the totem pole of like being scary, where it's like, she lost her number one. She has nobody to work with. Why am I worried about her? And I think
I
that's the genius to what she did.
I really love that point, and I'll tell you why. Because it reminds me of something that happened when Zay went home, which was kind of similar, which is what happened to Zach. Zach
Yes.
was distraught that Zay went home and like was crying, and it's like not in a very beautiful way either. He
Yeah.
was like sobbing. But at the end of the day, it really helped his positioning out because what
hmm
was everybody scared of week one besides Rachel? It was, oh, the strong bros are going to come together and strong bro it out.
Yep.
Testosterone, man, or whatever. But when Zay went home, it was like he was kind of the ultimate bro. He was the bro the other bros
Yeah.
rode around. And it's like now that he's gone, it's like, all right, well, we don't have to worry about Zach anymore. Zach's just, here. I'm sure
And it's
later on people will
yes.
realize, but like
I was gonna
for
say
now,
this strategy that you're talking about with Rachel and them. It doesn't work forever, but it gives you like a 2 to 3 week buffer of
yeah.
like where you're not scary at all. Like for like Zach and Keanu has his own issues, right? But let's say Keanu wasn't Keanu, just like a bigger, stronger guy.
Yeah, but even like somebody like Will's been on
Yeah.
the block once, about to be twice, but one of the reasons people aren't going after him is because they don't feel like he has a strong connection. If
Mhm.
or doesn't really have strong connections in the house, and he can be a number for people moving
Yeah.
forward. If Zay was still in the house and Zay wasn't on the block with Will, they would probably be like, "Oh man, Will's a bro. We need to get rid of the bros. We can't let the bros bro around, broiness." So it's interesting. It really has helped people's positions in a way because they voted for Zay to stay. It's like, all
Mhm.
right, well, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Accidentally, of course, but
Yes.
theoretically, they could take advantage of that.
Yes.
All
right, who do we have next?
Next up, let's go top to bottom here. Sorry, give me a second. There we go. Let's go to Adrian next, because Adrian's in a bit of a weird spot himself, but I think there's a lot to say about him. Maybe. What do you think about Adrian?
I like Adrian. I think he's one of the people where it's like I see myself in him a bit more than like the average person.
Yeah.
Because Adrian feels like somebody where it's like amongst a lot of big personalities, he's not the biggest personality in any given room.
No.
But he's likable enough and he's athletic enough where it's like people will see him as like, yeah, like I could work with him. Like he's a possibility. And it's like people aren't going to go on the hill to die for him, which is why I think the issue is for him is he hasn't built enough of those close bonds to really like have somebody go to bat for him if it gets dicey for him.
Yeah.
But like and it's so tough because like I think so many of these people are in really bad spots that like as a result, like Adrian's in an okay like ranking wise, like he's kind of towards the middle, but I don't think it's a good spot still. Like more than like half of the cast I could see going on the block for any given week and be like, oh, that's very obvious why they're on the block. Adrian's one of those, but I think at least Adrian has strategy wise a different story for him. But like I think he is likable enough socially that he can buy him some time as needed, which is what we kind of saw. And like if he kind of continues to be in this kind of position where it's like, hey, like I don't necessarily need to get you out, but like you're going to be on the block. And if it kind of flips your way, sure. He's athletic enough where like he's going to probably be like he'll probably win the blockbuster over 50% of the time, especially for some of the people like against Will, like he's going to beat Will every time. And it's like he's good enough where like I think he can survive it, but I don't think he's good enough to get himself out of the position that he's in.
Well, one of the best things I can say about Adrian's spot in the game is that he really doesn't have anything super going against him.
Yeah.
Like, at least not personality-wise. I don't think anybody in the house has Adrian as the number one person they want out. Like, Jimmy was there for, like, a little bit, but I don't think he was really... He still wants Keanu out. He'd rather have... Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like Adrian's almost on the biggest island of anybody in the game because... Even somebody like Keanu or Kelly, you could argue that, okay, their target can get so big that it's invisible.
Yes.
With Adrian, that's not the case, but he also doesn't really have I feel like he doesn't have any close allies. Like, I don't think anybody would, sacrifice their game to help out Adrian. I don't think anybody's number ones with Adrian. He's just kind of in this weird spot where, like, he can improve his positioning, but like it's gonna have to take some work. And I haven't seen him I haven't seen enough from him to feel like he can actually do that.
His spot feels similar to Will in that aspect.
Yes.
Where it's like they're kind of in the same spot where it's like I think people like them enough where like they're fine, but like they just haven't shown it. So I think they're similar in that aspect where it's like it's just like one of those things where it's like, if you're one of the people who kind of goes on the block early, it's just easy to keep putting you back up.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's the thing. It's like, if it's going to be we'll just have a hypothetical. It'll be Keanu and Adrian are on the block, right? Like at a certain point, it's quite obvious why you keep Keanu, right? Like if you can use him as a number, I don't think even though he's like big and muscular, I don't think he's gonna be the best in challenges. But perception wise, oh, he'll win challenges, and it's like, oh, I'll keep you safe. There's a reason to do that. Whereas like with Adrian, what's Adrian really gonna pitch me? Like, you're not the best athletically to try to keep me safe. You're not gonna really fight for me socially, like I think somebody on the way bottom as Keanu would. Like, I just don't get what I would get if I'm a random given house guest in a random situation. Now, I still think people don't like Keanu enough where they would send him home. But there will be times this season where, like, you'll have somebody, like, let's say it's Zach, right? Like, I would much rather have Zach athletically to fight for me than I would Adrian.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, that's a selling point to me, where it's like, if I can take advantage of these people on the bottom for just any given week, it's kind of like how Sandra, it's like, as long as it's not me, it's fine. If I can just any given week survive on Big Brother, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, I think about your hypothetical with, Adrian and Keanu being on the block. Let's say I was a person in the game. I'm on Big Brother now. I don't know what happens. Let's say I'm there. I would much rather keep Keanu in the game than Adrian for a 100%. Few reasons. Number one, Keanu has this huge threat. Other people are going after him. He's somebody that, like Vince and Kelly, I could just throw under the bus as much as I possibly could.
It's easy. It's so easy.
It's so easy. Two, Keanu still has this like athletic vibe about him that
I really don't think he is, which is funny, but
I don't think he is either. But he looks athletic and probably is athletic, but it just doesn't really translate to the Big Brother house so far.
He has the issue of like when like bodybuilders and weightlifters, they look very scary and very strong, but they do that from very specialized compound movements. Like, they are not athletes like Zach is. Zach played baseball, right? Like, it's explosive, it's moving, it's agility. Whereas like to get really big, it's you do certain lifts heavy the certain way. Like, it's not like I'm running a mile, I'm gonna be great like at the wall. Like, he's at the point where he has too much muscle, I think, to be athletic.
I'd agree with that.
Like, he's a bodybuilder, and that's the vibe. That's cool. But like it'll hurt you athletically, which is what Keanu's gonna run into, where it's like I don't really. You're telling me like I would take Zach over, like I said, Zach over him every time in a comp.
Yeah,
because that's what the Big Brother comps are. It's not who's gonna bench press the most or who's gonna squat the most. It's who can do this arbitrary balance task the best, or who can put the ball in the hole down the roller. Like,
that being said, I would still also rather keep Keanu in the game than Adrian, because Adrian has the ability to beat me in comps, but doesn't have the look to be threatening enough for people to actively target. While Keanu both won't beat me in a comp, maybe, depending on the comp.
But even if he does, it would be expected. It's like, oh, he's expected to win.
Exactly. It would be expected. And if we get down near the end of the game and Keanu's still around, people are going to be like, oh man, this guy can win out. Like, this guy could win a challenge. Theoretically, maybe go into surge at the end.
I just think he's bad enough socially that like he's a GOAT like in this game at this point. Keep him around as long as you possibly can.
My last point was going to be like, I would much rather sit next to Keanu than Adrian at the end, theoretically, because only one of them told everybody else that he's going to vote them out one by one, and has been actively awful at the game.
And I think part of it, people think of it as, okay, like this is an easy vote for me, but not enough times people look at it as like what if there's a twist and I end up on the block next week?
Yeah.
Keanu doesn't have friends. Like, there's a decent chance I'm against Keanu. And do I think I can out socialize him to stay? Yeah. Whereas, like, sure, it might be easy this week, like if I'm any given person to vote out Keanu. But if I find myself on a twist, like, what's the twist? Mickey? Is it Mickey was the twist?
Yeah, with the thing.
Yeah, like you find like Mickey like thinks you're a threat and puts up you, and then something happens, like somebody wins a veto. Oh, Keanu, go up there. I mean, those are realistic enough possibilities where it's like, I'm not saying you shouldn't vote him out when you have the opportunity to, but it's something to at least consider. If you're the one on the block next week, who would I be against?
Yeah. I really don't have very many thoughts on Adrian beyond that.
No, I don't either.
I just feel like he's in such a world of his own. So let's
he's on his own. He's on an
let,
island, really. Same with Will. We'll go through Will when we get to him quickly, but
yeah. All right. So next up would be Zay. I mean, I don't know if you have any special thoughts on Zay. I really don't.
I don't. I was not a fan of him. I have, I guess, for background in me, like I played college sports. Like I'm athletic enough. I hate his archetype. I hate that archetype. Zach is a way more interesting archetype in the bro archetype than Zay is. Zay gives off. I know he's from Arizona. I went to ASU or I went to Arizona, and I was in a frat, and I'm on the show. That's not an appealing archetype to me.
Yeah,
that's all.
I am so happy he's gone. I really am. Like the moment he opened his mouth, I was like, I don't need to see this guy anymore.
I was the same way.
Like I don't mean to be mean, but it's like that's just how I felt. It's like I just graduated from a big frat school. I've met a million Zays in my life, though I've never met anybody named Zay. So him, I guess. But yeah, he was exactly what I thought he would be. And he's gone. I expected him to go to the end because he's a strong guy on Big Brother, but sometimes we can be pleasantly surprised.
So. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it seems like more and more now people are trending to just getting out with somebody randomly athletic in the first week.
And I get it, but what's interesting to me is sort of what I was saying before. It's like, all right, we got rid of Matt, we got rid of Zay, blah blah blah. We can relax now.
We can chill.
Let's get a few weeks. Yeah. And then somebody like Zach or whoever else is just going to kind of coast to the end. And if he wins, people are going to be like, how did we let this happen? And it's like, because you voted out Zay.
Voted out Zay. Yeah.
All right. Next up, let's talk about Jimmy.
Oh,
Jimmy just got done with his HOH. He has been quite the personality. But what I want to know is, what are your thoughts on Jimmy, Noah?
It's tough because me and Jimmy are oil and water personality wise. The little of you know about me, Joe, I think you could see that we would be oil and water. Like we're just not.
I think Jimmy would be oil to a lot of people's water, honestly.
Yeah. And I think it's the fact that it seemed like he's a Big Brother fan, but it's the fact that when I watch him, it comes off as so inauthentic.
Yeah.
That it bothers me. Or it's like, usually like this archetype, I find to be fun. I find it to be enjoyable. It usually doesn't go far, but yeah, exactly. Like that's a fun, it's going to go for a couple weeks. It's going to burn out, but it'll be fantastic. But like, I don't get that like warm and thing. Like I don't have any part of me where it's like, I kind of hope they stay. Like with Heisem, I was like, I kind of like Heisem. I want him to stay around to see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that with Jimmy. Like Jimmy, it comes off as like, how can I make it about me at all the times? Which like, not to get into celebrity Big Brother, but like Omarosa, it's the same thing with Omarosa. How can I make everything about me?
Yeah.
But he hasn't like, and everybody gives Omarosa the pass, obviously, because it's like, I expect that from her. So It's funny.
Yeah.
But you have to earn that. And like when he does it, like going, like for example, the first week when he goes at Keanu feels so forced.
So forced.
It's like, it's forced and it's corny.
Everyone knows it's forced too. It's not like anyone's like, oh man, he just really did this off the cuff. It's like everybody knows he practiced that in the mirror for hours. Or whatever.
Yes, and that's what makes it like not fun. Where it's like, or like, when they nominate Keanu, like Keanu's doing stuff off the cuff, like I'm gonna pretend I'm asleep. Like it's just really simple bits that like are funny. Whereas that Jimmy's like, oh, I really want the audience to like this. Like I really want them to. This is my wow moment here.
Twitter's gonna go crazy about this one. Or whatever.
Yeah, like, and it's. I already know, like, me and Big Brother Twitter would not get along if I was on the show, which is great. I like that. But, like, it feels like he's playing into it too much. And, like, I've been in the pulse a little bit on Twitter and Reddit, so I don't know how people actually feel about Jimmy. So I don't know if I'm in the minority or if I'm in the majority with not liking Jimmy. But it's just, like, with his, like, and it's like, like I've said earlier, if they are good at strategy, it's cool. He's not a good strategist. So what am I getting from him? I'm getting somebody that I personally find a bit annoying, a bit abrasive, that I don't find funny. and they're not giving it to me strategically.
Yeah.
So I don't need to watch them.
I'll say this about Jimmy and how I think he's perceived. I also haven't really been paying that much attention to it, but I think everybody would agree with you that Jimmy, if nothing else, is trying a little too hard. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? He's really trying to force it, which is interesting when you look at like what we were talking about before with Rachel and authenticity and how
Mhm.
she kind of plays into that authentic self of herself from 10 years ago, but
But just a
isn't
little
really her
bit,
anymore.
just here and there.
Yeah, exactly. Just here and there. With Jimmy, it's like, all right, I don't know how authentic your personality is because I haven't seen you that much, but I know that you are inauthentic to some extent because, well, we've seen the blow ups that you've had. So it's hard for me to know how much of Jimmy that we've actually seen on the show is the real Jimmy and
Mhm.
how much of that is just like, I want to be famous. You
And
know,
here's and the thing that I was just about to bring up with that is like I'll like just for me, like if I call something gross, I love all the people. Like
yeah,
I think it's gross in the way for him that all of the like if you've noticed all of these big time things he's done, or at times when he knows the camera's on him and it'll be shown on an episode.
yeah, that's true.
He
Yeah.
knows it's gonna be on an episode for a nomination and a veto. Because whenever, like, if you listen to Taryn or you listen to watch live feeds, everybody's like, he's pretty mellow on there. You know, like he'll have an occasional thing that he'll do, but he doesn't go as hard as he does during these. And I think that's part
Yeah.
of, and maybe I'm wrong in that. Like I've known he's done some stuff, but it just comes when it's like when he knows people are gonna, he wants to be talked about. I think is the way to say it. Whether people love him or hate him, he wants to be in the news. People are talking about him. He wants to get. It's like, oh, how can people be like, oh, this is the Jimmy Show?
I think that's kind of part of just reality TV in general, is people are always, you know, fighting for screen time. The people who aren't fighting for screen time are usually the ones who are better at the show and
Oh,
do
of
better.
course.
But it's like going back to Survivor, our
Mhm.
frame of reference, it's like you don't often see people who are dying for camera attention on Survivor feel like they get it that much. You either have to be an insane personality like
Mhm.
Coach or Philip or even Rome to some extent,
Debbie.
Debbie, or you have to be like playing it up for the camera while also being good and interesting strategically, like a Tony, for instance, or
Yes.
somebody like that, or even a Russell. But
Mhm.
with Jimmy, it's like that. It's both in a sense because he's
Yes.
both been HOH and been strategic, or at least tried to be, but also is not strategic because he tried to do the safest thing possible and alienated all his allies by not listening to what any of them wanted him to do, and instead being
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I have no other options. I have to do this." So
Yeah. No, it's he's in a. I think he's found as a result he's not going to be in a good spot moving forwards,
it's
and it's like he I don't know. He's done okay enough where like I could see him surviving something, but like I also see everybody as like Jimmy's expendable to me. Like I'm
it's
not gonna go to fight for him.
it's weird because Jimmy has had a lot of people that he has either said he'll work with or have wanted to work with him in
Mhm.
this game. If I just look at the list, Vince, Morgan, I believe Adrian, Lauren, Zach, I think Ava was there for a while. Mickey, Catherine, even Keanu, even Kelly. And of those 10 different people who have said at some extent, I want to work with Jimmy, how many of them still see Jimmy as a trusted ally? Probably like one or two of them.
Yeah.
So I think it's impressive, honestly, how many bridges Jimmy has been able to burn this quickly, but
Mhm.
still how he's been able to rebuild those bridges to some extent because Jimmy's not going on the block this week, even
Mhm.
though, he burned at least 8 bridges just like last week alone. So,
Jimmy's really good at playing on the back foot.
yeah.
He's not good when you give him any sort of power. He's able to weasel his way out of situations really well, which is a strength for him,
Mhm.
but he doesn't know how to play with power.
Yeah, which is interesting because the way that he presents himself and the way he kind of has tried to strong arm Keanu in the past would make you think that it's the opposite. Would make you
Yes.
think like, okay, this is a guy who really knows what to do when he's in power. But of course, you get him with power, and he's like, "Well, I got to nominate Kelly." So there you go.
Yeah. All right, who do we got next?
Well, next up would be Amy, but of course, Amy is gone. I really don't have any thoughts on Amy personally, but
Amy was the person who lives closest to me, so like I was rooting for her just a little bit in that sense. I had a very funny. So I watched the first episode with my parents because it was fun. Because it's one of where it's my parents like, I don't know if I want to watch it. Like let's just watch the intro.
Yeah.
And it was really funny when it got to Amy. Like you know how they like, for every party, it's like they'll do the city flyover, they'll show like something, and then they'll show the person, right?
Yeah.
They were doing the flyover of the city, and I was like, that looks like Stockton. Like, but I was like, no, like that's it. Like, and I said it out loud, but in my head, I'm like, I'm insane. But like, it looked like it because like the little river with like the buildings, there's the baseball field there in Stockton, and then it panned and it said Stockton, California, and I was like, holy shit, I'm a genius. I got it off of 2 seconds.
Wow.
So because of that one random niche interaction I had, I felt connected because she's closest to me.
Well, there you go.
Now the only thing I'll say about Amy is like this is I would have never given her any win equity. So like I'm not shocked by this. I think she went home a little bit earlier than I expected. But like it's somebody I didn't expect to win. Somebody I liked her just because of where she was from. I wasn't actively rooting for her. I didn't find her interesting. I don't really have much to say besides that.
Yeah, I think Amy is a cautionary tale, at least for everybody else on this season, which is being actively aligned with Rachel Riley is enough to get you out of the game. And so I know that we just finished talking about Rachel, but to reiterate, it makes her position really interesting because nobody's going to want to actively seem like they're working with her, at least for the next few weeks. And I think Amy was collateral damage. I think she was not very strategic. So I'm not surprised that she went out second or anything like that. But I think a lot of it, probably most of it, is directly because she was best friends with Rachel. So there you go.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next person, who is Lauren, our active HOH for this week. Lauren had kind of been a quiet personality for the first few weeks, but now she is in the spotlight. And let me ask you, Noah, what do you think of her?
I have to knock points because I don't think this is an HOH she should have won.
Yeah.
But I will say, based off of what she has done, she's done what she should have done.
Yeah.
Whereas at this point, where like some of the power dynamics are kind of there, she's going for the easy options. Not going to try to ruffle any feathers or rustle, whichever way it is. Like she's not trying to put the spotlight on her right now.
Yeah.
Which is good for that kind of couple of weeks after first HOH. You're kind of riding with the house. You're not doing anything that's going to blow up your spot. Like I still think that Lauren can quite easily fall into the middle after this week. It'll be a bit more difficult, but like I still think that's a realistic option for Lauren to go back to the middle where it's like Lauren, like she's in that position where it's like she is a girl, so the girls are going to feel like she's with them, but she relates with the guys. Yeah. So she's able to she knows what each of them want to hear, and she's able to give it to them, which is why I think she'll be effective in the middle. This hurts her because she kind of has to take a stand, but just based off of the last info I saw, the stand she's taking is basically what is the most agreed upon by the house, which is fine.
Yeah. So right now, Lauren is HOH. The people that she's leaning towards nominating are Will, are Kelly, and Keanu. Which it's like the biggest question mark there is Will, but he was also just on the block and got 0 votes. So I don't know if people are really going to mind that. I've seen people online kind of being like, oh, she should be doing a move. She shouldn't be playing the middle. I disagree with that. I think that the first person, and I'll give this credit to Jimmy, even though nobody else will want to. I think the first person at this point in the season who makes a nomination that like shakes things up and changes things is going to be cut off basically immediately.
Oh, yeah.
I think that like Jimmy's HOH wasn't great, But he also did, as he'll happily tell you, had to nominate 5 people. And I think with that in mind, didn't put himself in a position where, yeah, like people got pissed off at him and he burned a lot of bridges. But I don't think it was the worst thing in the world. I don't think it's something he can't rebound from. I think it's kind of the position of winning HOH now and having to nominate at least 3 people is, for the most part, honestly, actively a bad thing in many ways, especially early on in the game. And so Lauren doing the safest thing, I think, is actually good because she has been under the radar enough. So even though she has to poke her head up for a minute here, she's still eclipsed by the other heads of Keanu and Kelly, who have been up there for a while, or even Ashley, if she wanted to nominate her if one of them wins veto or something like that. Let alone any of the people who haven't been talked about as targets, who as soon as they're nominated are going to be like, oh man, we can get rid of Rachel. Oh, we'll have to seriously think about that, or Jimmy, or Catherine, or someone like that. You know, like I think Lauren is actually in a very good position here as HOH, and I don't think anybody after this week is going to be like, well, we have to put up Lauren now. You know what I mean? So
no, yeah, I think there are enough personalities we haven't talked about yet, where the second they are nominated, they are going to fully commit to that person as the devil. I have to get them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Lauren is smart. I don't think anybody really is thinking of it that way. I think that's something we see on the outside of that being something that could happen. Where it's like, I think playing it safe makes sense. And I also have to talk a little bit, because I didn't talk about this earlier, of just with the addition of the blockbuster. I have a love-hate with it.
Yeah.
Because like I understand why it's good, and like you don't know who's going home till right till the end. But it makes getting out a big competitor just that much more difficult. Like if you did what you had to do and you backdoored them to the block through the veto, it sucks if you're that person, but I respect the good gameplay. Or it's like you can do everything in your power now to try to like get out strong people, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Which is what makes things more difficult, and which is what I was going to say. Like people think it promotes like chaoticness. I think it promotes passive gameplay.
For sure. Yeah.
Because you never know. You don't know for sure who your people are going to be. So why would I want to stick my neck out for a big vote when there's 3 people and one of them is going to be safe and one of them is going to have a veto. Like there's just more chances for them to be safe in any given week.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it, and it's like you are completely right in every way, and I agree with you. And I think it's almost changed the structure of the power that the HOH has to be very different. I personally like the BB Blockbuster. I like it more than the alternative. But you know, the old HOH, their power was I can nominate 2 people, and most likely you can only vote for one of them. Only one of the 2 of them will be available to be eliminated unless, you know, they win veto or something else. And now I feel like, at least in the early going, the power of the HOH is I'm not on the block this week and I can't be put on the block this week. And so it will actively be harder for other people to make the pitch to put me on the block next week without people getting mad at them. Like stagnancy in the early going is the name of the game here. And I think that's fine. I don't dislike it.
I think the way I would describe it is that with the format of the blockbuster, you can't be subtle as the HOH.
Yeah.
If you're either going to go completely passive like this, or you're going to swing for the fence of I'm going to put up Jimmy, I'm going to put up Zach, and I'm going to put up Mickey. Like I'm going to put up just 3 big players to try to ensure one of them is there. Like that's what you have to do. But at that point, it's so directly harmful to your game that 2 of those 3 big players are going to come back in and they know you tried to do a big move on them. That like when you do like the cost benefit, it doesn't really make sense to ever do that.
Yeah. I think after Taylor won in 24, I think people have realized a little more that like Big Brother, it's kind of like Survivor, is not necessarily about making the biggest moves, making the biggest addition to your resume. Though of course that helps. It helps more than it hurts theoretically. But the most important thing is good positioning. and
Yes.
having people who actively want to work with you and don't want to put you on the block, which like, oh yeah, no, that's so obvious, right? But I think it's not for a lot of people. I think a lot of
No.
people are content with like, all right, well, I'm all right to put this person on the block because I have these few other allies who will keep me in the game, and it doesn't matter if this side puts me up on the block because I won't go home.
Mm-hmm.
You can't guarantee that. The best thing to do in Big Brother is to have as many people working with you as possible who you don't even need to be number ones with them necessarily. It's just as long as they would rather have somebody else go up instead of you, which is why I like Vince's positioning once again so much, because he has thrown Kelly directly under the bus so that she will always go home before him in almost any situation. So there you go.
And I've realized, like, more so with Survivor, I think, but like,
Yeah,
you can basically talk and convince people that it was your idea, even if it wasn't.
that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
let's say, Joey, let's say you have an idea for the backdoor somebody on Big Brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to backdoor Riley, right?
Who doesn't? Yeah.
Right. And I go, Joey, that's a good idea. I think that we should do that, right? I could literally just say that, and then let's say it gets to the end of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are going to be like, "Did you make a big move?" And then I would say, "Oh, I voted Riley out." Joey, you would say, "No, that was my idea." And then I would go, "No, it was my idea to make you okay that was your idea."
Yeah.
When it was actively bad for you because it helped me instead. See, you can basically just spin any situation you want into it being a positive, which is what Taylor was really good at.
Mm-hmm.
Of you can spin it as like, if you're in good positioning, you can kind of say, yeah, I planted the seed in their head that was a good idea. And ultimately, because like they don't have 24 hours, like they're not thinking about it for a week who they're voting to win.
That's true.
Like I know they're sequestered in Big Brother, so they have more time.
Mm-hmm.
But like their perception is reality. And if you perceive people to make them think it's their ideas and then they went home, and then you just say, no, but I wanted you to think that was your thing and that I was cool with that too. So I had less of a radar. People are going to think, I respect that.
Yeah, and it's hard to prove wrong too. It's hard to prove that it's like, oh no, you were thinking differently. No, I know that you were thinking different.
Because it's like, it's like I'm the one sitting here at the end. Like I had to have done something to get here. Like I couldn't have floated the whole time. That was my idea.
Yeah.
And then because you're gonna have there's other allies there that are gonna be like, yeah, he was cool with that. They're not gonna say I led it. But, oh yeah, I talked to him. He was cool with that idea.
This is just making me buy more stocks into Vince is doing really well in the game thing.
No,
honestly.
Yeah.
Like, because it's true. Like, he could be a yes man the entire game. He could do nothing. But as long as he's at the end, all it takes is him saying, that was my strategy. And it's like, it was your strategy. Congrats.
And you got to the end.
Yeah.
And it's like, because like that's one of the strategies where it's like, is it the top tier game to win all game? No, but it has such a high floor that on any given season you beat probably 75% of players.
Yeah, and especially on a season like this where it's like you want to stay stagnant. Like unless you are Vince, there's no real reason to put up an ally of yours. And since Vince is an ally to everybody, it's like, all right, well, Lauren has HOH. Why would she want to put up someone like Vince who is actively, rooting for her to put the people that she wants to put up on the block and is actively seemingly working with her? The strategy of saying yes is very powerful.
Yes.
Exactly. All right. Any other thoughts on Lauren, or should we move on?
Nothing else on Lauren. I'm good to go on.
All right. Let's move on to Ashley, who is, she's Ashley. And I want to know what your thoughts on Ashley are.
Ashley is Ashley. It's hard for me to quantify this, but it feels like I've just seen Ashley before on the show.
Okay.
Like it's in the sense of like, I know what I'm going to get from Ashley.
Yeah.
Ashley is going to give me like, for example, it's one where it's like Ashley's going to be talking, but they'll give her the dodo music for strategy.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know, like, Ashley's gonna be a fun personality, like, thinks that they're in control, really isn't, and is gonna be like a flame out right around jury.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting from Ashley. Ashley has been fun from what I've seen of her,
Hmm.
but at the same time, it's like it feels like there's something that's like I just need a little more of something, and I don't know what it is. And I think that's more of a me thing because I know people like Ashley, people love Ashley, but it's just like there's something there that it's like I need something, and I think like her position is like as a result is just okay.
See, I disagree with you. I think
Hmm.
Ashley's position is terrible. I think she's in a really bad spot because all it takes is her being nominated and her
Hmm.
not winning the veto, and I think she goes home.
That's
Because
fair.
I think, she has maybe a few people that she's kind of working with, but I think for the most part, it's like going back to the Vince versus Ashley thing, more people are on Vince's side than Ashley's side.
Yeah.
People haven't been on Ashley's side since she took a shower that was however long. Who
Yeah.
knows how long that shower was. Ever since then, it's just one reason for Ashley to, be against everybody. And ever since then, she's just dug her own grave like over
Hmm.
and over again, whether it be paranoid, going to Vince in the HOH room, whether it be her refusing to clean when everybody's cleaning around the house, her
Yeah.
talking about stuff like that. I don't know, and her being very open, which honestly can be the best policy sometimes. But like, she's very open about like, we need to get rid of you, Ava, or we need to get rid of you. You're Vince. You're the one running the game right
Hmm.
now. You're the threat here. It's like, okay, thanks. That's
Yeah.
not going to make me want to work with you anymore if you're just going to actively say this about, you know, random people. I don't know. I feel like she's not in a good position, and I
Yeah.
don't
No,
think
I
anybody
the
is
more
really
you
close to
the
her.
more you articulate it, the more I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think there was the example of see, I didn't watch it live. I just saw the recap when I watched it after the fact. But when they're pitch, this is basically in the last 2 days where they're pitching, they're in the bathroom with Rachel
Yeah.
talking. Like she doesn't. I think the way to describe it is she doesn't have the thing that clicks where it's like I probably shouldn't do that. And
Yes.
I'm guilty of that too, where it's like sometimes I'll have a thought come to my mind and it's like I have to spew it out. And I get it's difficult, but that's very bad for Big Brother. Or it's
She
like she it's hard for her to take the back seat but still be in the conversation of like of that Rachel one where it's like, I don't think you should do that. It's like, why would you say that? Why are you
Mhm.
disagreeing there?
She and Jimmy have the same lack of filter and the
Mhm.
lack of being able to stop themselves from saying what's on their mind, which is good entertainment wise. I enjoy watching it. It's good. But it also, I do not think is a good thing on Big Brother. The only person who came close that I can recall to winning with that sort of like no bullshit policy is Felicia, who did the same
Yeah.
thing on 25, but she was nominated like a million times and
Mhm.
was this close to going home several times. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you could make the
Yeah.
argument that Rachel was the same way too when she won, I guess, but I don't know.
I'm actually happy you brought it up because I have to talk about the next person. So if you don't mind, I saw on the
Yeah.
graphic the next person is Catherine.
Yes.
So
Yes, it
I want to
is.
go to Catherine with this.
Yeah.
Is that I I like Catherine's position in the game. I know I said that earlier,
Hmm.
and I like it because she's similar to Lauren in the sense of that it's not like she's die hard for the girls.
Yeah. In fact,
She
I think
like
she's kind of over the girls to some
yeah, like
extent.
I if I had to bet, I would say she slightly leans towards the guys, but she's in good enough with the girls where the girls like her.
Hmm.
She has due to nothing of her own stumbled into this weird dynamic with Riley
Yeah,
where
she
like
didn't do
Riley
anything for that.
like
Yeah.
she did literally nothing and basically so she got a free number on every single vote.
Yeah.
Somebody who's like said they're willing to sacrifice their game and he's such an airhead that I believe it that he'll do something
Oh,
stupid.
for sure. Yeah.
So like she like so even just speaking like positioning wise, I think she's good position too, but she has basically a extra vote any given week now. And
Yeah.
like here's the thing, like Riley like is kind of lanky, but like he does have that like bull rider balance. Like I could see him winning some comps
For
down
sure.
the stretch. I could see him winning an HOH, and him winning an HOH is her winning an HOH. And the reason why this is
Good
so
point.
good for her is that while he is obsessed with her, she is not. It's only given one way. Like they're not gonna like. It's not gonna be like in America situation, right? Like they're not gonna be like people. They're not gonna be all over each other in like a showmance or anything like that. Like she'll give him some time of the day, but she knows like I'm not into him. Like what? That's not my thing.
Yeah, it's Riley.
And like and the other people like they're not going to see this as like a scary pair, right? Like you're scared of Riley.
Yeah.
I'm more scared of Catherine, obviously, but really like he's not giving me anything. So just strictly based off a game, I think she in this exact moment is in the best spot just due to those two things.
Wow, the best spot in the whole game.
It's tough maybe to say best, but she's in a top 3 to 4 position for me.
Wow.
Because nobody like is actively like, and unless I miss something in the last day or so, nobody's actively thinking Catherine is like my number one I have to go for.
Yeah.
Like I know people are like, but this is, I guess maybe it's I just based off of vibes. She basically has 2 votes and she's okay enough socially and positioning wise, she's good enough where like maybe she doesn't have win equity down the road, but for the next 2 to 3 weeks, I just don't see her being one to go.
I really like the point that you make about, any Riley HOH is her HOH, because I think that's very true. And I think that's the thing that she has most going for her. Unfortunately, I think she does have a big, big problem in the game, which is pretty simple. People don't like her. Lauren likes her. Riley certainly likes her.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else really likes her. There was a conversation from the other day where Morgan and Ava were like, I gotta say something. I don't like Catherine. And then they were like giggling about it. So it's
I do. Now that you say that, I do remember that.
So it's like, yeah, Catherine's like not in a bad position right now, but I almost feel like this is a situation where it's like as soon as Catherine gets nominated, like things are gonna spiral downwards for her. And I think the fact that Lauren won HOH this week is maybe the best thing for Catherine's game, because there's no excuse for her to be put on the block instead of somebody like Will, which I think is kind of where things were leaning to some extent. Because of this, I feel like Catherine can probably go under a little bit again.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm going for. Is I think that she is socially aware enough that I think she's capable of dipping down.
Yeah. That being said, I don't think that she is in a great position. I think at best she's in kind of a mediocre position in the house because, once again, people don't really like her. I think,
and it's weird, and maybe it's just as I'm just more casual of a viewer.
Yeah.
But it's like I just like it doesn't feel like there's been any like one example people have pointed to that's been like that's why I don't like Catherine. It feels like it's been more on like vibes, and maybe I'm wrong there, but it feels like they just don't like her vibe she's giving off.
I think the one specific example I've heard, because you're right, I haven't heard any specific examples beyond this one, but funnily enough, people didn't like how Catherine treated Ashley during the shower thing. So it all goes back to the shower. But I think beyond that, I think Catherine's just kind of like cold and maybe a little distant. She's not maybe as social as the rest of the people, or if she is social, she's just not as warm as somebody like Lauren or whatever else. Me and Pam were talking about this last week, that she has publicly said that she doesn't like people, and I believe that. Yeah, I get that vibe. So
it's one where it's like as stupid as it is, like I think that it could be effective of her to do a Dr. Will. Like I hate people.
Yeah.
And I think she's one of the few people I could actually see it kind of working with.
And the funny thing is, if she does that and says to everybody, I hate you, Vince, and I hate you, and I hate you, and I hate you, Riley's still going to be like, oh, but I'm in love with you.
He's like, you don't really mean that.
Yeah, you're just saying that or whatever. Yeah. Riley, what a guy. I really don't have any thoughts beyond that on
No,
Catherine. She
I
still
don't.
hasn't really done
I'm more
that
higher
much.
on her overall. I think mechanically, but I totally get where you're coming
Mhm.
from.
Well, let's talk about the person who survived last week's eviction. Let's talk about Will. Um, we kind of talked about Will a little earlier being in
Hmm.
sort of a weird in between position like Adrian, but I want to
Yeah.
ask you, what do you think about Will?
Yeah. A lot of what I said for Adrian, I would echo for Will, is that Will now unfortunately finds himself as being the older guy in the season that's easy to nominate.
Yeah.
And once you're in that spot, it's very hard to leave.
Hmm. It's
Like
kind of
even, and it's even if you can even if you are incredible socially and people, there's no shot that they're going to vote you out in any given week.
mhm.
It's still easy for the HOH to make a nomination on you.
The problem with Will is that not only is he the oldest person on the cast and is just having a hard time getting ingrained with everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense. He's also like just not really fighting
No.
to stay off the block. Like going back to Felicia, she was sort of the older person on that season who got nominated a lot, but it's like she was never okay with it. She was
No.
never accepting of it. She was not all right with it. Will, it's like last week he was like, I totally get it. And this week, I'm sure he will be like, yeah, I totally get it. So he's kind of just allowing himself to be one of the three nominees. Now, it's not the worst thing in the world because it
No.
is one of three nominees now instead of two, but I don't know. He's kind of just allowing himself to be in a bad position, not unlike somebody like Kelly, who we'll talk about
Yeah.
later. Um, so that makes me a little lower on Will than even how I am on Adrian because
Yeah, I'm lower on Will than Adrian for sure.
because the thing is, like Adrian, he really doesn't have the inroads or anything. People like Morgan have said, yeah, I want to work with Will, but how much stock do you really want to invest with somebody who's all right being on the block week after week? Like
Mm-hmm.
soon enough that stock's gonna crash. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, soon enough, like at a certain point, there'll be a double eviction, and it's like they have nothing to go off of. Let's just put the people back on.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you don't even have the week to discuss it. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, if by that point Kelly's already gone and Keanu's already gone, I'm sure Will still be up there. And he will just be a very easy vote.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to change the dynamics of the house, Will's the person that you target. And that is not indicative of somebody who I think is going to win Big Brother. So there you go.
Yeah. Correct.
Alrighty, well, with that, let's move on to somebody who is much more dynamic in the house, and that would be Zach, who still
Mm-hmm.
has his power, his HOH power deep within his pocket, but he hasn't
Yeah.
needed it so far. What do you think
No.
about Zach?
Zach is the type of player that we've seen in the past where, like, I don't think they're that great strategically. I don't like. He's good. He's fine socially. I'll say he's fine.
Yeah,
But like because of his athletic ability, I still have to give him a win equity.
yeah,
It
for sure.
feels it's almost in a weird way of like, I hate saying that, like I despise saying this, but it's almost like it feels like a jag for me.
I get that. I do.
Where it's like I like at least from what I it's been a few years from when I watched that season. I hated that season. But it's
Not
like
good.
no, it's like Jag was good enough socially, right? Like he was fine. Strategically, he was
Yeah.
okay, but he was able to win comps. And it's like, I know the comps have gotten a bit more equitable since then.
Hmm.
But like, if you're good at doing stupid things really well, you'll win these comps. Like, and he's just somebody that, like, when you look at him, you're like, he's good for about 4 to 5 comp wins on a season.
Yeah, yeah. I totally get that. I like Zach. I think he is probably one of the best social players in the house. I think he's one of the biggest physical threats in the house. But I also think like he's one of the lowest targets in the house right now.
Yes.
Nobody's wanting to target him, or even floating the concept of targeting him, which you can't even say about some of the most under the radar people on the season. Like at least people are still throwing Ava's name out there once in a while. People
Mm-hmm.
were still throwing, say, Catherine's name out there. Nobody's throwing Zach's name out there, despite him, being the most physically intimidating guy on the season and somebody who already has a comp win. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think it helps to him that the comp when he won, like you can very easily argue like, oh, I fluked into that one. Like it just so happened
sure.
that like I checked the right door at the right, like it's one of those things where it's like the thing that I could see running into is I just don't know how he is with puzzles. And like he was earlier on that puzzle. So which makes me feel cautiously optimistic for some of the puzzle comps. And I feel like he's well ingrained enough where like he retains information where I could see him winning some of these quizzes because there's good for 3 to 4 quizzes on any given season. I feel like of like true or false, X happened 5 times or stuff like that. And I feel like he's somebody who like just knowing like what professional athletes go through, who like can get into details and excel at details. And I think that's part of why he's good is that he understands basically in Big Brother and same with Survivor. For the first couple of days on Survivor or the first couple of weeks on Big Brother, don't do anything stupid that makes you a target for any reason. Just chill. And he's done really well at that of like, don't even try to participate in any challenges. Don't try to win anything. Just casually try. And if I win, great. If I lose, I'm still in a fine spot. There's no target on me. And he's not causing fights. He's not being part of any drama. Nobody's just talking about it.
I think, one of the most important aspects of doing well in Big Brother is just not being a jerk. And Zach seems like he is not a jerk. He's not pushing any buttons. I would say, honestly, in many ways, he and Vince are very similar. Like, they're not like both, like, he's not like Vince in the sense that he's not actively agreeing with everything, but it's the same sort of thing where it's like, Zach is not on anybody's bad side. And because he's not on anybody's bad side, there's not a lot of incentive for you to put somebody up who, could make it who you could make an enemy out of a lot of people by putting them up. So, but they're also not the most strategic necessarily.
I have a theory that we talked about this a little bit earlier, that like by him crying for Zay, he's found himself in a great position. Where it's like, because here's the thing, and I'm going to go a slightly different direction with this.
Okay.
Is that like, if I was on the show and I saw that, I would say like, he's mentally, I know he's not. He's mentally weak. Like, you've known this guy for a week and you're crying over it. Are you really going to be able to cut somebody later on?
Good
that
point.
means more to you. And it's like, if what I'm going strictly off in the house, I'm going to say absolutely not. The dude couldn't handle a vote for a guy he's known for 7 days. So how is he going to deal with voting for somebody else 8 weeks from now? He's not going to be able to do it.
That is legitimately a great point, because you know what I will guarantee? In 4 weeks, if both Zach and Lauren are still here, and Lauren goes up on the block, he will say, I will win a veto and I will take you off. I don't want you to go home. I guarantee you Zach will say something like that.
Yeah.
He'll do the Riley thing, but it won't be quite as egregious because it won't be so early. But you're right. I think Zach is a guy who's constantly preaching about like, yeah, I want to be loyal in this game. And, I want to be, blah, 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 whatever. I think he would do that. I think he's the type of person to seem smart and then just get too emotional in his gameplay. I see that, and because of that, I have to be like, all right, I think Zach's in a good position for now, but I could see him really screwing it up once his game really begins, because at the moment, he really hasn't had to do anything.
If I would argue he's floated the most in this game.
Yeah, you could definitely make that argument. For sure.
Or one of a few people.
Yeah.
But like I've said, I think it's very effective, and I think that's what you should do. And he's, for better or for worse, besides the crying, he's played what I would want to play for my first few weeks in Big Brother.
Yeah. He's been great socially. Everybody seems to like him. He's kind of in a showman, so there you go, Noah. Yeah. But also, he's
it's not gotten to the point where the showman is like taken over yet.
Exactly.
It's still in the early, and of course we're gonna get to the point where it takes over and it'll be a full thing. But for now, people aren't worried. There's also so many people left that it's like, what season was it? Was it The one, God, which is the one that I can't even think of the season. The white guy one. Yeah, there's like the two showmances at the same time. It was like 21 or 22. No, it was 20, 21.
It was the
one
season.
Of those.
We all know
it's one of them. They were dueling showmances, but it was so early on that people are like, okay, like, okay.
Yeah.
Like once it gets down to like 12, then I'll start worrying about it.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any other thoughts on Zach, or should we move on?
Nothing else. I think he's in a good spot.
Yeah. One of the better positions in the game, in my personal opinion. But somebody who is not, in my personal opinion, in a good position in the game is Riley, who we have to talk about next. Lay it on me, Noah. What do you think about Riley?
This dude sucks. Get him off my TV. He gives. Maybe this is where I go my most. He gives me nothing social. He gives me nothing entertainment wise.
Yep.
He's basically everything I am not, like in my personal life, politically, socially.
Sure.
He's the antithesis opposite of me. He's not a good person outside of the house, from what I know.
Nope.
He's not rootable in the house.
Nope.
He's been really creepy with Catherine.
Really creepy. Yeah.
What does he give me? Nothing.
He has the cowboy hat.
He gives me nothing. He's easily my least favorite player this season. Gives me nothing. And it's here's the thing. Even if he was trying to play the game for himself, I wouldn't like him. The fact that it's been so embarrassing with him and Catherine that like I just like I don't want to talk about him anymore. Like I hate him. I hate his gameplay. It sucks. He's not even trying. It screams like I don't care. And he sucks outside the house too. He's a horrible person. Why should I care about him?
He literally admitted the other day that he's in this house to get it on. Like that is why he's here. So
he's treating the show like he's on Love Island, but he's not good enough looking to go on Love Island.
Hey, he looks like Brad Pitt, or at least that's what somebody said.
He is not good looking. This guy, and that's my personal objective opinion. He's treating this like Love Island, but because he was not hot enough to go on that show.
Yeah.
And also he knows he would get canceled if he went on Love Island, like we saw this last season of Love Island.
Yeah.
So I have nothing else to say about Riley. His game position sucks. His gameplay sucks.
I would like to say this about Riley. You know how we were talking earlier about how Rachel and like nobody's really seen Rachel's season, so they've all sort of deluded themselves into believing that she's a really strategic player. I think everybody has sort of convinced each other that somehow Riley is like somebody they enjoy the presence of, because like there's no reason theoretically why he shouldn't be on the block right now, or why he shouldn't be targeted, because he's not in a close alliance with anybody. He was technically in the heavy hitters, but then the heavy hitters were like, why is Riley here? Let's just not have him here. And ever since then, all he's been doing in the house is saying, I love you, Catherine. I like you a lot, Catherine. I throw my game away from you, Catherine. And that's all he's been doing.
He's the guy. He'll go pre-jury. There'll be a week. I mean, he will. Yeah, there'll be a week where it's like somebody in power wants to kind of keep it low key. Riley will be my target this week because it's an easy vote.
Yeah, it's like there are a few people who have not been put on the block yet. Who it's like, okay, as soon as they go on the block, they'll at best be in the new position that Will is in right now, which is like, all right, that's a good default person to be on the block. Mm-hmm. And I think Riley is the biggest example of that. Like once Keanu's gone, Riley will fulfill that spot in the 3 if people want to play it safe for the week. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't think anybody's going to be, it's not like Catherine's going to be like, why are you putting up Riley? You know, I really want him to stay in the game.
Yeah.
Despite Riley being the best person for her game, I don't think she cares at all if he goes home. In fact, I think she would actively enjoy it if he went home. So
I think it would probably, she doesn't want it too early because she still has that vote.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, she'll be like, okay, I had my fun of using your vote to kind of get a couple votes here and there. I'm good.
The craziest thing to me about Riley is Catherine isn't even giving the inkling of pretending that she has any interest in Riley whatsoever. Like at most she's saying, thanks for, you throwing your entire game away from me. but she's not like enthusiastically saying yes.
No.
She's like, thanks for that.
He's creepy.
Yeah.
Next person.
Yeah, next person. Yeah, let's move on. Well, let's talk about somebody who's also a mess, but in a, more not gross way. And that is Keanu. What do we think about Keanu?
I like Keanu.
Yeah.
These are the personalities Big Brother needs. And it's like, and here's the thing. Some of the things he's being labeled a villain for, I don't even think are that villainous. Like, to be blunt, like, I have to use the example they give on television, on like the TV episode.
Yeah.
Where he's talking to Riley, and Riley's like, what did you see about my season?
Oh,
everybody's defending Rachel in this. Oh, he was so rude. Rachel was looking to pick a fight here. Like, for sure. It's very obvious that she is looking for any excuse to blow up on Keanu here. I don't think Keanu's answer was really that bad.
Not at all.
Because she didn't say, what did you learn about me? Or anything. It was, what did you see about my season? And for those videos that are like Big Brother 12 in 3 hours, right? They focus a lot, which is what he probably saw. I've seen them. Those are the things that he said is what they spent a good amount of those talking about.
Yeah.
Like the fight with Reagan and like all this stuff is what they spent a lot of stuff on. And it's like Rachel is really good at like the one-liners. If you're telling me what did I get out of the season with Rachel Riley, I'm not saying floaters grab a life vest.
Yeah.
What I would tell her is Hayden Moss ran circles around you in the house on Big Brother 12. That's what I got out of your season. And then in 13, see, I would, of course, I would have to say it nicer than this.
Sure.
On 13, you had double votes. And you had some twists that are just like, they make it like, what, heroes, healers, hustlers, like levels of delusional twists to help her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she won, and I get that. Every winner gets their lucky breaks. But I'd argue she had the most lucky breaks of any Big Brother winner.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It's interesting.
And sorry to spill it off of Keanu, but like, I love Keanu. He's fun, entertaining TV as a villain that I think is just his objective personal self. It's not inauthentic. It's authentically him. And it's like, I think he's actually, like we talked about earlier, he could find himself being such a big target that he stays around for a couple more weeks, which I would love to see.
Yeah. I do want to finish this point about Rachel, because you brought up something that I meant to bring up earlier, but forgot to when we were talking about Rachel, which is her picking that fight with Keanu, because she was definitely picking that fight with Keanu. And it seemed very similar to what happened with Zay as well, where it's like she just seemed to pick a fight with him seemingly out of nowhere. And I have to imagine that is pure strategy from Rachel.
I believe so too.
Because I think the thing that you probably want to do if you're in a position like Rachel and you can't have allies is to have one singular enemy. It's like kind of what Jimmy's doing, honestly, which is I will be so against Keanu that I won't even think about targeting anybody else. So I think that's probably good for Rachel's game.
Yes.
But I do also want to speak on the Keanu's answer to the question. I will be honest. If I were Keanu and I were a dungeon master and I were in the game and Rachel Riley asked me that question and she asked me, what do you know about my season? What did you see of my season? I would answer the exact same thing, because I have not seen Big Brother 12. I know the highlights. I know Brittany. I know Hayden. I know Enzo. I know Rachel. I know Brendan, blah, blah, blah. I would not have anything to say about her that's positive. I really would. I just don't know what she did. The
only thing
floaters to grab a light vest. I really don't know.
The only thing I would be able to say is that I watched the brigade just run circles around everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of that season, which we saw a better version of it in Big Brother 16, but it's the same style of season.
Here's how I know that Rachel was just looking to pick a fight. What could I have said about Big Brother 12 relating to Rachel that would have seemed positive? Would I have been like, oh man, Rachel, I loved when you said that Reagan was bad at being gay. That was so great. You know what? Like, yeah.
Like what am I going to say? Oh, I really loved your showmance with Brendan. No,
I think that's what she was looking.
That's what she was looking for. But like, Joey, I know you enough to know me and you. That's not where we're going for my first thought on Big Brother 12. And even if she asked me on Big Brother 13 what I learned, I know less about 13 than I do 12 because I still think that she was kind of gifted that win, and I wouldn't say that to her face.
I would say you won the season.
You won the season. You and Brendan were America's sweethearts, and you won the season. That's what I would say.
Yeah. So you rebounded after he left the house, and then you won. So it's a great story for people who didn't read the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, Keanu, I agree with you. I enjoy Keanu being in this house because he's just been in a downward spiral since things began, and he has not climbed his way out of it. I could not believe that during the veto ceremony last week that he saw all of Jimmy's like super forced, blow ups or whatever, and he was like, you know what I have to do? I have to do a forced blow up. But it was even worse than Jimmy because at least Jimmy was against one person. Yeah. Keanu tried to have it just be against Jimmy and then failed and then panicked and then was like, okay, I'm going to get rid of all of you. Only making himself bigger of a target. This isn't a Dr. Will situation where it's like, oh, that's Keanu.
No.
It's more of like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. You know, I love him on TV. I think he's gone in the next 2 to 3 weeks, which is unfortunate because I would like to see him make it long enough where he like becomes like the GOAT, where people just keep him around because I think he'd be very fun. He would help with the end game a lot. I think if he somehow, by the grace of God, made it that far, he would really help the end game with enjoyability.
I mean, let's be very clear. Keanu took the gift that was Casey Clark coming into the house and winning the competition for him, basically being a lifeline and saving Keanu in the game when he would have gone home otherwise. He took that gift from heaven, thank you, Casey, and took it and was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to double down. I'm gonna win all the competitions. I will.
You want to know what Keanu feels like, and this is a very niche thing.
Tell me.
Keanu and Big Brother feels like how I play on Dwight streams on Mondays.
Yeah, for those who know, which I assume are a lot of people who are listening to the podcast.
Just I guess for those, the very few who don't, when I play Blood on the Clocktower on Mondays. Way less serious. It's a lot more. I'm there for vibes to kind of just mess around, get reactions, just goof around a bit, right? Like that's what I'm there for. If I want to play serious, I'll play some of the other days.
Yeah,
and that I feel like that mentality. Maybe that's not his mentality, but the result is what's going on with Keanu in the house right now.
It feels like similar to what you were saying, sort of how I play Blood in the Clocktower, which is every day it's like, okay, what's my bit going to be for today?
Yes.
But he's not doing a bit. It's like he accidentally stumbles into the receiving end of a joke. He's like an I think you should leave character. He's like Tim Robinson. It's like everything he does is contrived to somehow be a big joke against himself. Yes. It's like he goes to Jimmy and he's like, Jimmy, I know that you're putting me up this week. And Jimmy's like, well, I wasn't, but now I guess I will. And then he puts him up and then Keanu gets saved somehow and is like, all right, Jimmy, let's work together.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you get that from that? Or it's like Rachel, who's earnestly trying to work with Jimmy work with Keanu, I should say. And Keanu's like, you're lying to me. I just know you are. It's like every single decision he has to make in the game, he's making the wrong decision. And it's very funny because inexplicably, he's still here for now.
The last thing I have to say about him is his performance in the last veto challenge.
Yeah.
Everything I would expect, that he's not disciplined.
Yeah.
And I think that's very poetic. That's all I have to say on him.
I would agree. All right, let's move on to Morgan. Morgan's next. I will let you know that after episode 1, Morgan was my personal winner pick.
Morgan's my favorite player on the season.
So, give me your thoughts. Tell me.
The reason why I like her are more strictly like gameplay and positioning out the door. Like, she's the type of person I find enjoyable on reality television, of like who somebody like I don't necessarily know if we've got the best example of that on the show, but somebody you think has some strategic chops, some social awareness, I think can do well because kind of comes off, who was a former athlete like in college, but also I can see like playing into the nerd a little bit.
Yeah.
It has like, and I think that's probably why she was your winner pick. It gives me a little bit of everything, which I like. You can go to that first point and then I can go to the next one.
I mean, I love Morgan. I think Morgan's great. I think Morgan's biggest strengths are her biggest weakness, which is she is good at everything, which makes everybody aware that she's good at everything. So, yeah.
I think the difference between her and other players is that she has difficulty hiding it.
Yeah.
Like she has difficulty turning it off. Like in the social and the strategic, where it's almost like, it feels like it's almost like Caleb from season 45 Survivor.
Yeah, I get that.
Where it's like I know Caleb was a lot of people's winner picks on then, like very social, very likable, pretty athletic, and I think all those apply to Morgan. But as a result, it's just a little bit too much in each thing, where they're like, like I could work with her, but like I think she could be dangerous socially. I think she could be dangerous strategically. I think she could win out later down the road. She has all those things going against her, which is her strength. But like you said, it's her weakness where she's going to be viewed as super, super dangerous.
Well, of course, perception is one of the biggest components of any competition reality show. How people perceive you is how people are going to work with you or around you. And I think Morgan, ironically, has one of the smallest amount of wiggle room when it comes to how people can perceive her in the game. I think about somebody like Ava, who we'll talk about in a minute. Ava, it's like the way that she's perceived is actively great for her game no matter what.
Yes.
At worst, she's perceived as being like a buffoon and, like a wacky, silly character. But, at best, she's perceived as like, oh, she's a secret mastermind, sort of like a Marianne from 42 or something like that.
Yeah.
So Ava has so much like ground to move with and how she can play with people's perceptions of her. Morgan is confined into a very tight box that I don't think she can wiggle out of right now, which is her biggest weakness. And if I can, I'll say something small about why I especially worry about Morgan, because it's not just me that thinks that Morgan is this huge threat. It's literally everybody I've talked to. Pam, who I had on last episode, Morgan was her winner pick too. Sunder, who I had on in the first episode, was like, yeah, I really like Morgan. She's one of my favorites. I was watching Big Brother Unlocked, which premiered last night, and all three people in the Big Brother fantasy draft, Derek Levasseur, Taylor Hale, and Chelsea from last season, all had Morgan as their winner picks.
Yeah.
Like,
I think what I'm going to say here, like, will resonate with you.
Yeah.
I think, and this is why this is so bad for her game. I like to think of things of what, like, when I talk about things, what's their ceiling and what's their floor.
Yeah.
Morgan, I think, on the cast has the highest floor.
I agree with that.
For what goes into a good Big Brother player. Whereas people like Ava have such a huge spread of, like, they could be a 0th percentile or 100th percentile.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, with Morgan, I know she's going to be, from before the show starts, she's going to be above average in everything, which means she's going to be an above average player, which puts her in this top 75th percentile from the first second the game starts.
Yeah.
And, like, I know that's where she's going to be. She can't hide from there because her floor is so high. Whereas, like, some of these other players, like, I think we'll get to Ava, which, like you said, the social perception of her as a buffoon puts her so low of a ceiling or as a floor that you're not worried about it because you're like, like, even like if you hypothetically, who would be the better player, Ava at her peak or Morgan at her peak? Most people are going to say, oh, Morgan will be the better player at peak.
Yeah.
Peak them on the show. Which is why it helps because, like, I'm sure a lot of people right now are saying Morgan at her worst is almost or better than Ava at her best, is what people would say on the show. And that's why Ava has found herself in an incredible spot to be in, which we'll get to. And why Morgan has such difficulty maneuvering because everybody already knows that she's good at everything and she's likable. Like, why would they? Yeah.
Even the people who want to work with Morgan, or the people who have had want to work with Morgan in the past, like Jimmy or Mickey, they want to work with Morgan for some time, but they don't want to work with her to the end. I think Morgan might have a final two deal with Mickey. I'm not sure, but beyond that, I don't think she has truly like close knit bonds with really anybody. I think of the power players on the season, she's in the least powerful position, ahead of Jimmy probably. But for the people who seem to be sort of dictating where the votes go and who goes home on a day-to-day basis, or week-to-week basis, I should say, Morgan is in the most volatile position where I do think the floor could come crashing out from under her, really, if people just decide that they want that to happen. That being said, I think there are enough people still on the bottom so that she probably won't have to worry about that for a while, realistically. People like Kelly or Keanu are going to go before people even really look at her. So I don't know.
I have a question for you. I just came up with this on the fly. I have no idea your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a dumb question, but I think you'll understand why I'm asking this.
Yeah.
Do you think that Morgan would benefit from just a showmance to bring her down a peg? Or do you think she's the one that'll get voted out in that? Because I was thinking about it. I was like, if she publicly did something like that, could that actively benefit in her that people think that she's not as good as she thinks she is? Or is she just the easy target from the showmance to go home? I don't know. I thought it was just a weird off the ball question I had for you, but I think there could be some fun answers to that.
No, that is a very good question, because I do think Morgan needs something to force her down a peg, whether it be her voting on the wrong side of the vote or one of her allies going home or something. She needs something to bring her down a notch, because right now she is probably maybe one of the biggest perceived threats in the game that people actually believe is a threat to win. Rachel's going to be number one until she goes home. But after that, like, Morgan's probably number two. So I do think she needs something. However, the person that you get into a showmance on this season is Zach, who is also a power player. Yeah. And if both of them are working in tandem with one another and everybody knows it, Morgan is the one who would probably go home in that situation and would probably be targeted. So,
and I'm trying to just the reason I asked that is she needs something more than on the other side of the vote, but she doesn't need I get in a huge fight in front of the house.
Yeah.
She needs something that can do that. And that's why I said showmance, because it's a unique thing to do on the show, where it's one of those where I agree with you. If it was Zach, I think she goes home, but in the off chance something happened and Zach was the one that went home instead of her, I think she'd be that would be the best possible outcome there.
Yeah. I do think a lot of it depends on who she got into a showmance with. Getting in a showmance with Zach is probably overall going to hurt her game. If she got into a showmance with somebody random like Adrian, I think it would help her game, or a super cool guy like me instead. I think. I think. Too. Yeah. Wow, what a coincidence. No, but seriously, I think Morgan does need that something to bring her down, and she doesn't have that right now. I think most other people in the game have something you can look at to be like, oh, that person isn't in a great position. You could look at Vince and be like, he had a bad HOH. You could look at Zach and say, well, he cried after Zay went home and generally is kind of not strategic. You could look at Jimmy.
She's played too clean. She's played too clean, I think is the way to say it.
Exactly. She's played too clean. And because of that, if she doesn't start messing up soon, it's going to mess up her game.
So. And there are very few people, before we go to the next person, there are very few people who can play a perfect game from beginning to the end. Most of the winners, maybe I shouldn't say this but a lot of the winners look bad in the first couple weeks, which brings down their threat level, and they kind of just coast to the end. I mean, Jack did not look good Taylor didn't look good the first couple weeks.
No.
A lot of these players did not look good the first couple of weeks. Josh did not look good the first. So many people look bad the first couple of weeks, but they at least have enough social skills that can carry them. Where it's I think some of the winner candidates are in bad spots now.
Whether people talk about is okay, who's the best Big Brother player of all time? A lot of people would say Dan is the best Big Brother player of all time. First season, BB10, his number one goes home immediately. He's the one person on the wrong side of the vote, and for the next like 2 or 3 weeks, he just kind of is there and doesn't do anything. Like theoretically, that's like as bad as it could do. That's basically what Adrian's doing right now. Except Adrian, it is not on purpose. So that's interesting. Like I don't know Big Brother well enough to say, oh, these are the cleanest games in Big Brother history. Like,
Yeah, we're just riffing. We're two random guys. We're riffing.
but I have to imagine it's not that many because I think Big Brother, more than Survivor, is so much more like, once again, if you poke your head up, you're going to get bombed. Like, I think that's just kind of how it goes. And I think that's part of the interesting nature of the strategy and why floaters tend to do well. Even people like Jack, who relied so much on comp wins and were bad at the game for the most part, like, he still floated for like half the game basically in his own way. So, it's interesting for sure.
Mickey
All
was
right.
what I was looking for earlier. Mickey was bad.
Yeah.
But like, okay. Next person. We're going a marathon.
Yes, we are. But that's all right. We're having a good time. Next up is Ava, who we did just talk quite a bit about, but to get, more detailed thoughts, maybe, what do you think about Ava?
Yeah, I'll keep Ava a little bit quicker because we talked about her a little bit just with the last one. I think Ava is in a phenomenal spot just because of the social perception of her.
Yeah.
Of it's like, that's like, I like personally, I still have question marks about whether or not she could cut it strategically down the line. I have some question marks about it. Regardless, what she has given me now paints her as a candidate to go quite far in the game, which is why she's in a good spot. Like you mentioned earlier, right? Like a couple people will float the name of Ava. They don't ever feel serious like they're going to stick. Like nobody wants to do that. And like people are just going to view her as an idiot. I can get her out at any time.
This is going to be a weird comparison, but I think Ava is kind of similar to how people were perceiving Tucker near the end of BB26 or some other people, where I feel like she is universally loved. People really appreciate her. Maybe she's not as strategic as some of the obvious, more quote unquote game body people, but like people love her. She's in a great middle position. I think the problem that she will eventually come across is she's almost too well liked. She's almost too quirky. It's like at some point the needle is going to flip, the record's going to flip, and people are going to be like, Ava is too well liked. If she gets to the end, she's going to win. And I don't think Ava's going to be good enough at competitions to be able to keep her from going home. Now, when she goes home, everybody's going to be crying and nobody's going to be happy about it. But I don't think that once again, sort of like Morgan's problem of being confined in a small box, Ava's almost has too big of a scope to be perceived, where it's like, no matter what she does, as long as she makes it far and she's still well liked, she's going to be perceived as being like, she's just being herself and she is such a gem that how can I not vote for her to win? Like it's basically almost, no matter what.
It's almost like, I agree. It's almost like, because I feared coming in, she was going to be like what you saw in the intro video, like that quirky.
Yeah.
It almost feels like she needs to turn it up a little bit more. So like, just start. Cause like, here's the thing. Like, I know it's just weird because it's like based off of what I saw in her intro, I thought for sure there'd be a few people who like just do not mesh with her.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like she's kind of just like too kooky for them, but everybody loves her, which is like why I was like caught off guard by that. Because like, and it maybe it might be weird, but I think one of the few people who would not have liked her at all is Zay. Like those personalities do not mesh at all. And I could have seen that being really well for her down the line of like getting into like weird things with that, but gone.
Yeah.
So if they're gone, then like,
I mean, I'm just trying to think about it. Like, I can't think of Big Brother winners who are quirky, who have won while also not being disliked. You know what I mean? Like, Dr. Will was quirky and he won, but he did it while being, this weird personality that people both loved and didn't like at the same time. I can't think of any Big Brother winners off the top of my head who were quirky and universally liked and won. Most Big Brother winners are some of the more boring people on the season.
The only, and I did not watch the season. Let me clarify that. The only one I think that I could maybe fit in that is Andy from 15.
Yeah, Andy Herron. But I mean, he was controversial in his own way.
And that's the thing. Of course, he was controversial in his own way. I think just knowing that season and looking back at it, he's liked much more fondly as a result, which is why I say quirky. But like I said, he still had his issues. And it's like, because then if you're like looking for quirky, you would go to like Josh, obviously had his issues.
Yeah.
And then if you want to like try to meta what you mean by quirky, you can maybe say like Steve from 17, but people would just call him boring in a game bot.
Yeah. So
because he was kind of socially awkward a little bit, but I don't think of that as being like quirky.
No, I wouldn't say so. But it does say something kind of about Big Brother as a whole. Like maybe you could say Nicole Franzel was quirky, but it's not quirky the same way Ava's quirky.
No.
So it's weird. It's a totally different thing, I think. And that makes me legitimately worry about Ava's position to some degree. It's like it's almost too great of a position. Like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, it's like the too much variety in Ava, the not enough in Morgan, and then you kind of, and like the person I would say the most middle is probably like Zach, like the middle between the two.
It's like, okay, the people who I perceive as like, all right, these are the people who do well on Big Brother are kind of strong-ish, maybe average to nice-looking people who are a little boring, but like still strategic, and maybe have like a small dose of personality mixed in there. And it's like, okay, that describes Zach.
And that also kind of describes Adrian a little bit, but he has his own issues.
Kind of describes Adrian, kind of describes Vince.
Yeah.
Kind of describes Lauren. I don't know, but does not describe Morgan, does not describe Ava, but also might potentially be accurate to the next person, Mickey.
Yeah.
But that's what I have to ask you about. What do you think about Mickey?
Mickey's interesting. I know a lot of people love Mickey.
Yeah.
I like Mickey. I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about Mickey. I think Mickey's done a pretty decent job.
Yeah, that's
in the simplest way to say it. Like there's nothing that I've really thought that has been horrible. There's nothing that I've been like, oh my God, that was incredible. But it's just been like, yeah, like I think Mickey is the same way of what we just said with Zach, where it's like there's variance there, but it's like the perfect amount of variance in what you want in a player. That like it could be it could be like a little bit lower, a little bit higher, but they're never going to be like the most low or the most high.
I mean, I would say Mickey is probably in the best position in the game right now. But that doesn't necessarily make her interesting to talk about, is how I feel. I said something similar about her last week, but I'll repeat it again because my thoughts haven't changed. It's like maybe the best way to be perceived in Big Brother, and I said this about Zach earlier too, is like to just not be like mean to people, to just be nice. And Mickey's nice to everybody. She has a brain, like she's using it properly, unlike a lot of people in the house. And she's in alliances. And it's like, well, that's probably about all you want to do when you're only 2.5 weeks in the Big Brother.
Yeah, so. I feel very similar to her, like just opinion-wise as I do not Riley.
Yeah, certainly not.
As Zach, where it's like I like them. I'm intrigued to get to understand them better. I think is the way to say it.
Yeah.
Because it's like I don't feel like they've had like, we've gotten little bits here and there, but we haven't gotten to like to see them in their true form yet. Is what it feels like.
Yeah,
it's almost like for example, like if you're a Pokemon fan, like you're just leveling up that first stage for the next evolution, and we'll see the evolution where I really like them more in the next upcoming weeks. So I like Mickey. I don't have a ton to say about her right now, not in a negative way. I like her. I just think that the best game from her is yet to come in the future.
Yeah, I like this idea of, comparing these house guests to Pokemon evolutions because it's like Zach, I feel like could evolve into a Charizard one day. Mickey,
Mhm.
I believe, could evolve into a Blastoise or whatever.
Yeah.
Morgan, I feel like, is already a Butterfree, and it's like she's not going
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
anything. But she was a Butterfree like immediately, so like, man, she was really helpful when it came to the first gym.
Yeah.
We're still talking about Big Brother, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's like that's how I feel. It's like
Yeah.
these other people, like Zach, doesn't know Big Brother that well. So once he
No.
starts seeing how the game works and he starts getting his gears a turning, and either he's going to do nothing and he's just going to kind of stay where he is, or he's actually going to be like, oh, now I understand how to play the
Yes.
game. Mickey, I think, has more familiarity with Big Brother, but the same applies to her. I mean, it's one thing to watch the show on television, but it's another thing to, be doing the darn thing.
Yeah.
Same is true of Vince. I could see Vince like taking that step forward. There are
Mhm.
some people like the next person, Kelly, who I don't feel that way about. So, this just kind of how
I
it
mean,
goes. So yeah.
this is your Jigglypuff that can't evolve.
Yes,
They
exactly.
cannot get to Wigglytuff. It just stays.
Mhm. Let's talk about her. Kelly, the last person we have to talk about. Boy, oh boy, Kelly, what do you think? Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin, really,
Mhm.
with Kelly. Kelly's like somehow a fan, somehow has never seen the show, somehow knows what she's talking about, somehow is clueless. Like she is like it's one of those where it's like she is all the way here and all
Yeah.
the way here at the same time. And it's just like I can't even give her the benefit of the doubt because like the lows are so low
I mean,
that
it's
it's
not like
like
she has any highs, really, is the thing. Her highs are winning or getting her advantage to have her free power veto competition that got her to not go home. You know what
the
I mean?
highlights of her is just like winning a confident aura farming in the front of the camera for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's been. And it's like I want to bring this point up because now that we've gotten to her, and maybe this is just me not understanding this weird dynamic between Vince and Kelly.
Yeah.
They're like and I think maybe they don't even know what the dynamic they have going on is there. But like it leads to just some weird like situations. And it's like, and I think this is more into Vince, but I always feel, and I always struggle to root for people who have stuff outside the house and then stuff develops in the house. I always get like, I don't like that. Just basically like, because like even there, they're like, what are we like? I don't
Oh,
know.
like romantically.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And maybe that's been quelled in the last little bit. I don't know. But last I saw, it was like question marks there for
Okay.
both of them.
Gotcha.
And it's like, and this is more on Vince. Kelly's just her own animal right now, right? Like doing her own thing. But it makes me less interested in rooting for Vince when I know that they're kind of a schmuck in the house.
Okay. All right. See,
I know that's completely off of Kelly, but
no, I will be honest. I had no idea. I'd never even like thought in my mind that Vince and Kelly could be a thing. Like that never crossed my mind.
The only reason why I say this is I think there was just a clip I saw on Twitter, or maybe I read it on Reddit.
Yeah,
that was something about that, and maybe like I said, this could just be me speculating on nothing here, but I just have to put that out in general.
I think
and even if it was a thing, I don't care about like either one of them enough to have any interest there.
Here's why I think you're valid. I don't know how much I can speak on Vince in this matter, but I fully believe that Kelly went onto the show hoping to be in a showmance. I fully believe that. Maybe that's just my personal like perception of her. I don't know, but I haven't really thought about that. I thought you were going to bring up the fact that Vince has seemingly been tight with Kelly, and then has been once again running her over with a bus a million times behind her back. I thought that's what your problem was with him. But it's like
no, I don't care about that. That's I like that.
I can't really speak on that. I mean, I've seen them have these like close hugs and stuff like that, but I never really saw it as being like a romantic thing. I saw. So I talked to Pam about their like sort of bond last week, and she said something that was very insightful to me, which is it's kind of like when you have a friend in high school who's unpopular, but then you want to make it seem like, oh man, but I don't really like Kelly like that, to everybody else. That's kind of how I feel about that relationship between Vince
That
and
was fair.
Kelly. I don't know. I I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I think Kelly certainly likes Vince more than Vince likes her, regardless. So
Yeah,
there you go.
that's fair. Anyways, I don't really have a lot to talk about Kelly. Just game. There's just no game there.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like there's no win equity, which is fine. So be a character, and she's not being enough of a character there for me to want to see her stick around a long time.
There's a reason why Keanu and Kelly are the consensus targets. It seems like every week until they go home.
Mhm.
And that is they have put themselves in this position. With Kelly, she literally asked to be put in this position.
Yeah.
And now that they're in this position, are they happy about it? No, not necessarily. But they're not trying to get out of it. Like both Kelly and Keanu have said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna win every competition from here on out." How about that? When
Yeah.
both of them needed a lifeline to get out of last week. Anyways, so yeah, I mean they're bad at the game.
They're both bad at the game, and if you're asking me who I'd rather have, Keanu or Kelly, Keanu doesn't give me much more entertainment than Kelly will.
Yeah, Kelly's just a bit of an odd personality, shall we
And
say?
I hate to say this because like I like relate a lot to Kelly and how
Yeah,
Kelly acts in social settings. Like I completely get it, and I feel
me
like
too.
I feel like she'd be one of my favorite like people to hang out with. I think she'd actually be one of my favorites
Yeah, yeah,
outside the show. But that does not. That's why this is strictly about the game, and I don't think she's entertaining for me in the game sense. No, like if if you're telling me for her to run like Blood on the Clocktower, or like in another setting,
totally.
like that would be so fun. Like that would be like one of my favorite picks.
I could see Kelly and I could see Vince playing Blood in the Clocktower with our group tomorrow. I could see it.
Yes,
Absolutely. Ava too,
and they would
maybe.
fit, and they would fit right in that sense.
Yeah, for sure. That being said, like Big Brother, she's not good at it. And frankly, I don't know how much she even wants to be around anymore. Like, I don't know how much she even still wants to be in the game. Because, I don't know. Nobody really is talking to her, it
Mhm.
feels like. Vince is the only buddy who's really giving her the light of day. And she's not in any strategic conversations.
Yeah,
She's just kind of there waiting to be Tucker because she keeps talking about Tucker. So, there you go.
yeah.
Alrighty, well, any final thoughts, Noah? Any final thoughts on the season at all, or anything like that?
I still feel it's too early to tell how the season's gonna go, um, because just like every single almost show that's like this, it's broken down into how good the pre-jury is and how good the post-jury is.
Yeah,
And too many times in Big Brother, there has been a good pre-jury with a bad post-jury
yeah,
that I like. I'm cautiously optimistic here, but I'm just like, there's so many people in tough positions right now that it's like, I'm interested to see who rises to the top in that sense.
hmm
But there's also like, I don't know. There feels like there's like something that's like, I need a little bit more of, and I don't know what it is.
yeah.
Like, it's like, I need like some MSG that I don't know is there on the season right now.
I, I couldn't have put it better myself. And with that, thank you all so much for joining us on this episode of See Any Good Moves Lately. I hope you all have the greatest day of your lives. So goodbye. Have a
Have
good
a
one.
good one, guys.